Which way do we go is the question to ask. There are so many choices that it's hard not to look past. What is real and what is fake, and the risk we have to take. Will we know what is throwing off our balance? We're trying to find ourselves without the defining words. We can no longer hold on to what only makes us hurt. We cannot sink into the dark. The vertigo is getting sharp. There's something greater than ourselves that we must reach for. Into the infinite that we must reach. Into the infinite that we must reach. Into the infinite that we must reach. Into the infinite that we must reach.
I feel so alive. I've never felt this way before. It must be you and I. It's got me thinking about us more. It's these bright lights, they put me in a daze, and I can't stop but think about the way that you move around up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes. Bright lights, they put me in a daze, and I can't stop but think about the way that you move around up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes. Bright lights, they put me in a daze, and I can't stop but think about the way that you move around up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes.
stay one more night. I'll be by your side. We'll live for a new day. We live life the hard way, but not today. Just stay. Just stay. Just stay. One more night. One more night. Just feel my heart inside. Our love can grow so bright. We found a way into the grace again. Let's not pretend our hearts have life again. Just stay one more night. I'll be by your side. Just stay. Just stay. Let's not pretend. We found our way again. We found our way again. We found our way. A new place.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. control. Your light is gone, all of the darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. No relation. We got no relation. No relation.
It's crazy.
And it goes like over the edge. Feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to this Friday's broadcast of the Victoris Triumph Series. I am your host, Becky Rita, as always, and of course, we've got on the desk, we have TDS, we have Moose, and of course, behind all the computers and cameras, Cow is there, giving us moral support and probably removing me from the stream the next time I say something inflammatory, but that is okay. Probably deserved. TDS, how are you doing tonight? How are things going for you?
Last week, it went kind of fast, so I'm
Oh yeah,
surprised that I was able to get here. But hey, last week of regular season, last opportunity to try and get the last remaining teams for playoffs. Should be really exciting already. Obviously, some have secured their playoff spot, some are yet to be decided. And
still to be made. Uh-oh. There are a lot of decisions still to be made for at least Group B, and maybe some of the teams for Group A as well. Unfortunately, tonight we are not going to be necessarily watching one of those games, but we still got a good game packed here for you between a team. Regardless of the impact on playoffs, what matters more is the narrative and the momentum of these teams coming into tonight's matches. Moose, I know you've been crunching the numbers, you've been looking at the playoff statistics and all of that. So,
Sure.
or maybe you have, maybe you
We'll
haven't.
say
Uh,
we'll say I have.
you at least know a bit more about which teams can make it, which teams are secured, and which teams are completely out of the mix than I do. But
Sure.
before we get into that, how are you doing? You know,
You know,
I asked TDS how I was doing. I was just like immediately throwing questions at you. How are you doing?
you know what? I'm doing phenomenal. It is another great Friday afternoon. We had a little bit of wind here in Vegas, so it kind of cooled it off. And I went to the bar out on Tuesday, won a couple of like gaming merchandise. So won this
Oh,
advent calendar of Mario
cute.
themed socks.
let's
And I
go.
haven't opened any of them yet, but I
Let's
definitely
go.
am going to this weekend. Super excited to get into that. But yeah, very excited to be part of Week 7. Looking to a lot of the teams, especially in the 3 and 4 spot right now, to really stake their claim because, as everyone has mentioned, as everyone has noticed, there are eliminated teams. There are teams that are guaranteed a playoff berth, and then there are teams that are kind of in that wild card bubble. There are 4 teams or 4 teams in total, 2 teams from each group that are looking to fight to get their last chance to that 4th seed to make it happen. So a really exciting match, a really good opportunity for all of our final teams to get one final opportunity to show us what they're made of, even for these eliminated teams to come in and potentially put their opponent who maybe is guaranteed a playoff spot out of their flawless record, or maybe put them in a lower seed, because that is what is most important now, is seeding moving into the playoff bracket.
Oh yes, that is absolutely what we're looking at going into playoffs. And we actually saw on Tuesday, I got the pleasure of hosting VRD. We saw not
Ooh.
like a huge upset, but we saw the tables get turned on one of the teams in the standings in the very last match, which
Mm-hmm.
was very exciting. The Ducks managed to sneak their way into 3rd place when they were just barely hanging on for playoffs at the start of the week. Really cool scenario there. And yeah, even if you are secured or you think you're secured, you still have the potential of a seeding upset, and you need to try and make sure that you are going in with as much of an advantage as possible. And yeah, so for these teams, you mentioned that there were some of them who are still fighting it out. 4 teams in Group A. I believe they are the Rice Farmers, GBC, GEB, and CB. I
Mm-hmm.
believe those are the 4 teams still
See,
competing for
ooh.
to make sure that they stay in playoffs, particularly GEB and CB Uwu are the two teams that really are looking to get a win in their
Mm-hmm.
last match of the season,
Sure.
which hopefully, you know.
Sure. Yeah, just to clarify really quickly, Rice Farmers and Gothboy Click, they are both 4-2. They have guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. The
Okay.
the wild
Yeah.
card, the winner go home situation is for Glacial Esports Black and CB Uwu. If you look at their schedule, GEB going up against Mint should be an easy game for them to win. Same thing and then Golfboy Click going up against Wolfpack Caldera. That should be another easy win there for GBC. But it is, this, Rice Farmers versus CB Uwu that could potentially be the turning point because Glacial Esports Black feeling pretty confident. I think, going up against a 1-5 team should be able to win that one. If they don't and CB Uwu is able to win that game, they will secure the 4th seed. And if they both win or they both lose, we have to then look at the tiebreaker between CB
Yes.
Uwu and Glacial Esports. And I'm looking at that right now just to clarify. That was very early in the
Yeah,
season.
it was very
Yeah.
early, and due to an FF, it was GEB who picked up the win. Or yeah, GEB won their match over CBU, and that was not an FF. No, GEB just won.
Sure.
Sure.
They just won. They just won the games. They just
Hmm.
won the games 2-0. So they will have that head to head if it ends up being a tie, which will secure GEB their spot in 4th place. However, like you said, GEB can still lose to Mint, and CB Uwu can still win their game against the Rice Farmers, and that will give a different scenario. It's not as likely just based on the powers of these rosters that we've seen in the standings, but it is technically still possible, and I'm sure that
There's too
I'm
many
sure
things.
yeah, I'm sure that CB Uwu are the biggest Mint fans right now. They're praying. They're praying for the power of Mint Gaming to come in and take over. Meanwhile, in Group B on the other side of the bracket, which we are not watching today, we
Sadly.
have a few teams that are. We also have those 2 cutoff teams. Uh, Rice Farmers FF versus CB Uwu. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's a potential
Ooh.
informations from the glorious Twitch chat. We will see.
Yeah, no, actually, it's true. It is true.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I, I actually
Oh.
because like to
Uh-oh.
give context, I've been talking with CB because I wanna try and help them out. I wanted to know more about the team, and I've been talking with them. So the one of the people in there just confirmed to me that they left.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's now
Ooh, this is
GEV
spicy.
is gonna be sweating now. This is now serious. They thought that they're gonna potentially be pressed by Mint here and may lose that spot. That could be exciting. That's an exciting storyline. We'll have to see how that resolves. But yeah, back to Group B. The pressure point match that we are looking at here is between RST and Akuma Blades. Ragnarok Esports Thor are facing up against Gank 7 Mirage this week, and Akuma Blades are facing up against CB Infusion. Two
Both
very tough
qualified.
matches for these teams. Two very tough matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
they're gonna need to prove themselves. You got any? I know I think we're sort of all more familiar with the Group B teams just because we've seen more of
yeah.
them, but it's gonna be tough for both of these teams to grab a win, and it may come down to a tiebreaker. So, if one of you would like to talk a bit about these 2 teams here looking to get into playoffs while I figure out what the head-to-head is, feel free.
So it would be Ragnarok Esports Thor versus Akuma Blades. Week 5, RST was able to win that
Yeah.
matchup 2
Yes.
0. So there's 3 eventualities there's 3 timelines that we could be living in. First timeline is that both teams win or lose their matches, and in which case Ragnarok Esports Thor their wins their match. So if
Yeah.
Ragnarok Esports Thor wins tonight against Gang 7 Mirage, they are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. They beat that tiebreaker against Kuma Blades. They win that fourth seed. Now, if Gang 7 Mirage is able to take out RST and Akuma Blades is able to beat CBI, Akuma Blades will eke away that win because they'll just have a higher set score than their opponents. So, a couple more things need to happen for Akuma Blades to be able to make it into the playoffs. But, Gang 7 is a very tough team. They're second in the standings for a reason. And, there's so much that could still happen there. And I'm very excited to, see who's going to be able to take that final spot because even then, seeding is still so important for Group B because all of those matches have playoff implications.
Yeah, all the matches in Group B have playoff implications, and these teams are going to need to put up or shut up in this final week, and that will just determine the season, and we'll see who makes it onto playoffs. But for the time being, tonight we are going to be watching a couple of teams who already have their fate decided for them. VGA, currently the undefeated team in Group A, holding down a 6-0 record over the rest of the roster. They've beaten every single team on their way to this final week, and the last one in their way are Ragnarok Esports Loki, the tricksters, the trickster gods looking to make some mischief happen and maybe upset this team, looking for a perfect season on the left side of
Yeah.
the bracket. The undefeated team in Group B, Team Ambition Black, they have managed to secure 7 wins over their opposition, but VGA, they still have their match tonight where they have to show that they are on par with their Group B counterpart. And I think even if some people may say that this match is already decided because the differences in results kind of speak for themselves. But I still think we're gonna see something very exciting because you know uh when if you've watched competitive league, you know that the matches that don't mean anything are the ones where interesting things happen. I think it's the North American special is when after you get eliminated, you have the best game of your life against the eventual world champions.
Or the
That's
biggest fiesta.
or the
Mm-hmm.
absolute biggest fiesta.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see one or both of these show up
True.
today in the game. So I think
Yeah.
it'll be a very exciting match, even if it's not a very impactful one. So TDS, I want to start with you if you have anything you want to say about these two teams, like Ragnarok Esports Loki, going into this match, what do they need to be potentially looking at in terms of like the meta, or just to try and catch VGA off guard and secure the series?
So I'm not the biggest follower for BGA. I have watched some of their games, but not everything. So it's not like I have everything completely cleared up. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
for going against a team that seems to be so on point in so many things, I think that they need to focus quite a bit on getting the draft edges. Get a lane that you're comfortable with, but also try and get as much strong meta picks as possible. I think that Senna, Twitch should be priorities for them. Senna much more so than the Twitch, obviously, but if the Senna is banned away, Twitch is going to be one of the important champions. Then considering for the top side, try to play for the counter picks because I think that if you can get a counter pick matchup with a strong baseline on the bot lane or on the jungle, I think that they can try and create and get a draft edge that should be enough to try and win them team fights because I think that team fighting still is one of the main components in the current meta, and if you have enough of a draft edge in that area as well, you can try and translate it in game.
Okay, yeah. Get those draft edges, get that comfort going, and maybe you can get a win over the top team of the league. On the flip side, make sure that you don't get upset in reverse there. For VGA, do they try and do anything special here? Or do they just kind of play standard? Because going into playoffs, you don't want to reveal your hand. So it's hard to say. Like, they could play some cheese, but I'm kind of doubtful that they will, just because if they've got something spicy, they're gonna want to save it. I don't know what your perspective on that is, but I don't know. I don't think we're gonna see
It's
something spicy from them.
it's a 50-50,
Completely
right?
disagree.
Completely disagree. All
Okay.
right,
Ooh.
bring it, bring
100%
it, bring it home,
disagree.
Moose. What are we
100%
thinking?
disagree. This game, and and not, I don't want to take this as a negative side of, either one of these teams, but this game has no stakes.
Yep,
VGA has confirmed their seeding. They are
yep.
going to be the first seed out of Group A. There is no denying that, even if they drop this game. So I am expecting VGA to come in and use this as an opportunity to warm up some of these compositions that maybe they haven't gotten used to. This is going to be a series that, one, they're going to get casted. So you've got, me and TDS and you all, talking about the composition and shoutcasting how it works out, which is going to help their analysts. But then it's
Okay.
also a way for these players to then, see some of these different opportunities and see a game where you can go in for these, strange shenanigans and see if it works, because we are still in a relatively new patch. 12.11
Mhm.
is still, is still fresh, and season 12, the durability patch, or 12.10 is still, fresh on everybody's mind. So if you're not using this opportunity to your fullest advantage, if you're not warming up for the playoffs and going for those spicy picks, you, I think, are losing out on a prime opportunity to show us what VGA is made of and show us why, they're such a creative and adaptive team.
Okay, we're gonna see. You think we're gonna see some creativity and adaptive gaming coming from VG Virtue Gaming? I'm hoping so, because I
Uh,
think that'll make for a better series, a better viewer experience. And I do agree with your
Okay.
points that you raised about the analysts stepping in and giving
mhm,
some thoughts on their compositions, what worked, what didn't work. It helps sort of it gives basically do their job for them in terms of breaking down the teams and what the composition could do if it needs improvement.
mhm.
So I do think that that is obviously a possibility, and I'm hoping we see something interesting. I know there's some dark
Potentially, maybe.
technology. Oh, ooh, ooh.
Maybe.
There's
I
some.
think
I
I
know that.
think we may get something. Just
I
saying.
I've been hearing all of this Soraka mid talk,
Hmm.
and I'm going to be disappointed if I don't
Hmm.
see it.
Yeah, no,
I almost
Soraka
had
mid.
something
Some of the
hearing that.
Yeah, that's some of the dark technology. Singed mid is some dark technology that I've seen and some people have been talking about can really mess some teams up.
Mhm.
Bard was
True.
rated as a high mid laner by LS, so you know that that champion's garbage in the mid lane, but people are gonna try it anyways. Uh, I don't actually know. I saw it in a game. Obviously, you know, gold elo is not necessarily comparative to how the bard mid can work elsewhere.
Hey, 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 hey.
Maybe they'll try it today.
Ezreal is blue. Ezreal began because of a low elo beating someone
Oh,
high
true,
elo, so
true,
it may work
true,
out. Yeah, we don't
true.
know yet.
That is the deep lore for blue Ezreal, and maybe it will work out.
Maybe.
Maybe it'll show up today. I kind of doubt it, because you need to take time to actually
True.
learn Bard. You don't just bust out Bard without any practice. So something like Singe, the predator start just going for early cheese kills. That's something you could see a team try and pull out without too much practice, as long as they're coordinated enough to bring that home. So I believe we are getting the teams into the lobby now. We are just waiting on. Okay, yeah, we're just waiting on a couple of players to get into the lobby here. Uh, Hopefully they show up, you know? In the meantime,
Oh
Okay.
my god. Um,
uh do we I feel like we don't share this information.
until it's completely sure, no, I think.
Yeah, okay. We'll hold that close to our hearts. And I guess in the meantime, is there anything either of you want to talk about before we maybe just go to a quick break while we wait for the teams to get themselves around?
Yes,
I think.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good break.
Okay, what have you got?
I want to talk about LCS.
Oh,
Okay, all right, let's
I want to
go.
talk about
a
LCS. We had
surprising
a
topic.
split. We had the split start today.
Oh yes.
Uh, and I was talking with Gigatron yesterday, and and it brought up a really good conversation. I think it's a good conversation that if you guys are familiar with the LCS and with a lot of these players, there is that opportunity for them to come through and maybe show off. TDS was able to watch a little bit of the C9 game, was what he was telling me. But
Yeah.
the question that I want to ask everyone is, what are your 3 picks to go to Worlds this year? Who are going to be the 3 teams?
I
Who's
have
going to come in?
I have my two that I'm pretty sure are going to Worlds. Like I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that they are going to be there, 100%. Team
Okay.
Liquid and 100 Thieves.
Okay. I do think that 100 Thieves is gonna make it. They're solid enough that they are like top 3. I don't know. They'd need like a huge collapse to drop below top 3 and not make Worlds.
Yeah,
But I actually feel more confident about EG because I mean
I can see that.
they were the MSI representatives. I think, right? Right?
Yeah,
Did I
yeah, they
make that
were.
up? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I
they were.
remember seeing Danny
Yeah,
play at MSI.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
they
I
were.
He
didn't just
sure
imagine
did.
this.
It's fine.
I didn't
They
just
were.
imagine this. Yeah, so I think that EG is performing. If they stay on par with how they performed in spring, they're going to put on good performances and secure one of the top 3 spots. The third spot, I
Mhm.
think, is a very tough call. I know Team Liquid's good, but was not convinced by them during last split. I think the meta now is better for them. So
I think
maybe.
I think you've got to reiterate that question though. Is the meta better for Bjergsen?
Hmm.
Yes, and I think it's not only
Yes.
on the part for Bjergsen. I think that it's better for the way that the team wants to play. So it allows
Okay.
for Bjergsen to be much more comfortable, which I think it's a good advantage for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
But even if the meta, I think even if the meta changes and something goes completely haywire, like the
Mhm.
thing that makes me feel more confident about TL and 100 Thieves going potentially into Worlds than EG I think can make it, but I think I would think TL and 100 Thieves are a little bit above me in that regard. It's because
Okay.
if I come into what the split will be, which is the I don't remember the amount of BO1s that we get, then you need one BO5 victory to reach to secure the worlds because it's the winners final. Even if you lose, you're still top 3 if I'm not wrong, or top 4. So you secure the MSI that way, the worlds that way, and I think that TL and 100 Thieves are much more, I think, consistent in that regard than to not do it.
Okay. Yeah, I do think that that is very true. Ah, man, the third spot to me it's like all of those 3 teams, I feel like 2 of the 3 of them will make it, but one of them probably won't. Somebody's going to come in and upset them. I don't know who. Uh
Mhm.
TSM.
while that maybe,
TSM,
maybe
TSM,
I think
No,
TSM's
TSM,
team
no.
does
TSM.
look better
I
this
I
split than
I'd,
it did last split.
I'd
Uh
honestly bet on Dignitas with Gamsu over TSM if I'm honest. I'd be willing to bet
uh,
with
uh,
Dignitas over TSM in every way.
well, Valorant, well, no, it's Overwatch. Gamsu is an Overwatch superstar, you know?
But now
He's
he's a
back, baby.
league. Yeah, he's back
He's
into league.
back.
He's back.
So,
He's going to carry Dignitas asses into worlds. I believe in him. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure he can do it.
we just got to get Core JJ back on Dignitas, you know? That'll be the real run back right there. We'll see how
And
that
Kiwi
goes.
Kid or what?
Yeah,
Do we want to
somebody
bring
find
back
Kiwi
Kiwi
Kid. We
Kid?
got to get him out of retirement for
No, he's doing.
one last
He,
heist.
he finally was able to get over this crazy game. Are we going to bring him back to hell just like that?
Yeah, we got to bring him back. It's the only way North America can win. We need Kiwi Kid to teach another generation how not to play the game.
Sure. I want to
Alright.
talk about,
Okay.
when we talked about EG for a little bit, and I think that, EG as a team, I think that they are playing some of the best NA or the best League of Legends in NA. Not the best NA League of Legends, because that's a whole different story. But I do think that EG is playing some of the best League of Legends in NA. And they played it really, really well at the beginning of season 12. The spring split was, I think, very well done. There was really no contest for them. But the conversation was brought up about how close MSI is from the start of the summer split. And in most professional sports, there is a little bit of time before splits start. Not, 30 days, but, a couple of months. Players like to take a little bit of time off. They like to, do other things. They like to get things figured out. You're going into this next split with, already going through a Worlds. There is probably a little bit of fatigue there. And you don't want players to get burnt out. And I think statistically speaking, teams that have gone to Worlds or have gone to MSI have not performed as well in the summer split because of particular reasons, whatever that may be, potentially because of that fatigue. And so I think that that might be a factor in determining whether or not EG is able to get, that first spot. I do still think that they will get top 3 as long as, nothing
Yeah, they don't need
catastrophic
first
happens.
spot.
Yeah, as long
They
as
just
nothing
need to secure
catastrophic
the
happens.
worlds.
I've got my
Exactly.
hopium, though. I've got my hopium set up for Golden Guardians and FlyQuest. I want to see one of those teams make it. I really do. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, MSI, a lot of people love to talk about how MSI is a huge breaking point for a lot of teams. They go through and then they come out on the other side just completely
Well,
a
it's
shadow of
typically
their former selves.
it's typically the LPL that suffers from this most.
Oh
NA
yeah.
doesn't usually, like, if NA sends someone more times than not, that team makes worlds anyway. Like,
Hmm.
apart from C9 2020,
Yeah.
that more times than not, you do send the spring team into worlds. So it's like the only one that is affected by this really really heavily is LPL. Even
Yeah, I
EU
mean,
Mm.
is consistent in that
well,
regard.
debatably after the game 2 between T1 and Nongshim that happened in the LCK earlier today, that was what some would call it a game of League of Legends. I don't know if I would, but
Mhm.
charitably, it could be called a game of League of Legends. And T1 they went 2-0 in that series very cleanly. Don't
Clean,
watch the VOD.
nothing. No, 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 no. Because it's so clean, you should go and watch the ball. It's so
Oh,
You
clean
should
that
go
everyone
and
needs
watch
to
the
watch it.
VOD.
Yeah, everyone needs to watch it.
Gotcha.
That's how you play League of Legends. That's the pinnacle of play.
I um I have a bad habit of I have a bad habit of watching a game from start to finish, and I don't
I do the
have
same.
a ton of I don't have a ton of time. So like I only watch 1 or 2 games a week, or 1 or 2 games a day depending on that. Is it better to watch a game in full, or is it better to watch highlights of all of them?
Depends on what you want to do. Because if you're trying to know the results and see who wins, but still find it entertaining, then highlights, I think. But like I see it from my side. As a color caster, I cannot skim through them. Like I need to watch them. To even if it's with a speed, with times 5 speed, I think it is. You need to watch them to try and really get to see things. But if it's to try and know the other things, I feel like you can watch highlights without really having to worry about much.
yeah,
Okay,
you
fair
see,
enough.
I'm a step below. You watch highlights or watch the full VOD. I just look at the Reddit thread, and then I gather what happened from the game like an archaeologist. Look digging through the Reddit
As a
comments, like,
hive mind,
Is this real? Is this really what happened? What Fakers washed? How? how did this get here? You know, that's really the optimal way to enjoy Pro League.
Now,
If I
Now, really quickly, I know we want to continue this conversation, but I
Sure.
do want to, I just want to highlight something really, or not highlight something, but I do want to like get something figured out really quickly. So I think we are going to take
Okay.
a quick break. We're going to see if we can get into another game because unfortunately, Ragnarok Esports Loki has forfeited the match. So unfortunately, we will not be seeing that match. We are trying to get into another best of 3 in Group B, whether the CBI match or the Gang 7 match. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're gonna take a very quick break and then we'll go from there. But hopefully we'll get something figured out shortly.
Yeah.
Baby, when you left me chasing you, trying to find a place where we can be alone. All those lights lying by your side, like it's a vibe, feeling it shine under your spotlight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week 7 of the Victoris Triumph series. We got Moose and TDS here to cast not the highlighted matchup of the week, but definitely a very important one. We've got two teams that are looking to be able to either get seeding figured out or to try and get their playoff spot. This is going to be Ragnarok Esports Thor versus Akuma Blades. Pardon me, Akuma Blades versus CB Infusion. Pardon me. Pardon me, I'm losing it. I'm falling apart. Akuma Blades versus CB Infusion. Akuma Blades currently 3-3 in the standings. This is a must-win game for them. If they do not win this one, they will have no chance of making it into the playoffs. And if they even if they win, they could still lose to Ragnarok Esports Thor. So a very important match.
Yeah, and before I talk about the match, because I know that we need to talk about the match, I just want to say that production at the start, holy, that is LCS level kind of things. I'm actually impressed, much more so than anything of the game.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen it previously.
He was, we got to shout out Cow and Magical Cow talking about, all the things that he wants to do to innovate and get better with his production and showing it off. So really, really great to see and super excited to just continue to see Cow's career continue to blossom and develop for sure. But let's take a look at these two teams. Akuma Blade's going to be over on the blue side. Legoat James going to be playing as that Dr. Mundo, Hexmist as the Talia, Fluke as the Silas with Indigo, and Ratchet 00 as the pairing of the Lucian and the Nami. So definitely some mid to late game scaling going to be showing up here.
Yeah, quite a bit of potential teamfight prowess coming to the mid game, which I think maybe for Akuma to try and push the issue may be quite good. On the side of CBI though, I think that they have quite great late game scaling, and if they go past 25 minutes, I think that they should have quite a sizable advantage, particularly because they have enough consistent damage to be able to threaten the Mundo, and they also have the range advantage over champions like the Sylas and the Talia that need to be from a certain range to be able to get the most out of their damage. So I think that this composition for CBI can be quite dangerous for what AKM came drafted into this game.
For sure, and talking about that really quickly, Mario's playing as that Ord, you got Snoop Dogg as the Lee Sin, Talsimony going to be playing as the Victor with Soju and Signify as the Ezreal Seraphine respectively. And so like you said, we do have a little bit of falling off on the Ezreal and the Lucian for both EDCs or both teams, but Marios and Tassiomi and Signify for CBI, they're going to be able to scale up pretty much on par with Hexmist, Fluke, and in some way Ratchet being able to be that support. So I think the longer that the game goes on, the more powerful that CBI becomes just ever so slightly.
Yeah, and those small advantages, especially for team fighting, which I think will end up being quite a crucial spot of this game. It's going to be really, really interesting to see. Also, another thing that I want to see from AKM, because of the Talia usage that they have here, it's the amount of global pressure that they can provide here. Because they have Xfluke with a teleport on the mid lane with the Sylas, they also have the Talia wall that can cover pretty much half the distance of the map. So I think that you should try and go for side lane plays as much as possible to try and put pressure always on the side lane.
Very good Scryer's Bloom from Marios, who was able to spot out a potential play from Fluke and Hexmist. Despite that, though, Hexmist is going to be able to take the Raptors here, trying to be able to get a little bit of a CS advantage over their opponent Snoop Dogg, who in the early game, the Lee Sin does control the river a lot better than the Talia and can take those earlier objectives a little bit better than their opponent. As you do get some trading in the bottom lane, Signify is not going to be able to land the root on Ratchet as Indigo flashes forward, is going to get hit by the Ignite. Won't be enough.
Ignite to send a message, but that flash from Indigo, I think that if you're going to commit the flash, you have to flash at the start, not wait a little bit, because that can be what happens. Indigo way too out of range for the potential kill onto a Josu, and it's really unlucky, especially with how it started. Now potential gank here, there's no vision, there was ward here previously.
Oh, and they're trying to go for it too.
Yeah.
Indigo is probably going to be okay, but a
timing.
great use of the resonating strike from Snoop Dogg.
Ratchet.
Ratchet's going to be in trouble. Ebb and flow. The root's going to land, and somehow Indigo and Ratchet are able to survive, and Indigo keeps the cleanse.
Yeah, but Ajosu used the flash as well as Sigafy utilizing the flash to try and follow up on the Lee Sin. Ends up blowing the flashes for not really accomplishing much. They don't get the kill, they don't threaten much more from the side of AKM. And at the end, the bot lanes are able to equalize their cooldowns. It's one summoner spell still up for Indigo and one summoner spell up for Ayosu. Also, quickly to talk on the top side, Mundo was trying to bully as much as possible the Ornn, especially after the gank, but Ornn is Ornn. As long as he doesn't die, he can find quite a bit of value.
Yeah, and was able to teleport, and so, might actually be a teleport advantage for Lego James because he was able to push up the wave, is going to be able to back off and then walk back. Probably not going to lose too much CS out of the exchange, but definitely going to, have a little bit of that advantage coming through.
I think he'll tweet, yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to use it anyway, so I guess not, but regardless, it was a cool concept potentially to go for. 6 minutes into the game, Mountain Drake has spawned. Both these teams could potentially try to go for that at any moment. I would say, if for the time being, Snoop Dogg once again going to have that advantage. But we really got to be looking at level 6 here. Once Hexmist is able to utilize that Weaver's Wall, ganks in the bottom lane might actually be the priority. But I don't think Marios was seen, and they're going to be sending all 5 members of CBI to the Dragon.
Yeah, going for the Dragon before Talia hits level 6 after the Mundo utilized the teleport just by walking in. Marius will lose a wave because of what happened with that walking down into the bot lane. I think not really necessary. You could have done it, especially because of the priority that the Victor had. But I think this shows that Marius is not really worried about sacking lane as long as the team can get those advantages to try and keep them in a really good spot for the game.
Marios has been phenomenal all season long. First player in the VTS to earn a pentakill. It was on that Darius, as we are going to get a play now in the mid lane. We're going to get Fluke utilizing the Call of the Forge God, and it's Alex to try to be able to come in. Fluke's going to flash away, but it's the Chaos Storm and the Electrocute damage, the Summon Aerie damage, that is going to be able to get first blood on to Tassimony, and it's the Safeguard from Hexmist. It's going to be able to keep Tassimony alive. It's another kill for CBI.
How did everything work out perfectly for the side of CBI? They get a kill onto Testimony. He's able to work around, and I really like how he used the flash there, because if he flashes to the back, Talia is trying to cover the distance already, so he was going to get collapsed. But flashing onto the Silas to cover distance, get the cooldown to get the kill, and then even if he trades, he already gets the kill, so it's value for the Victor. But add to that he survives, everything for CBI working out greatly. Also, bot lane, they got a kill trade.
Sure did in the bottom lane. We'll go ahead and take a replay at that right now to see how Indigo was able to take that kill in the bottom lane, because that did kind of stabilize what happened there mid lane. But regardless, it is 2 kills coming in for CBI, one of them going over to Tassimony, one going to Snoop Dogg, as Lego James is going to get targeted for another gank. Does not have Call of the Forge God, and will have to flash away. Hexmist now on the way as well, going to try to clean this one up. Knows that they've got blue buff, going to potentially still going to use the Weaver's Wall, and is going to use it, try to get Marios caught out of position. Marios, there's no way that you're going to survive that one. And Hexmist will kick up a kill there.
If he had just walked forward, he would have stayed alive, because the Weaver's Wall would have pushed him to the side. And we'll get the replay from bot lane as far as I know, so we can see what happened here. Sigafy, I think he was watching the play in mid lane. Yeah, I think he was watching the play in mid lane.
Oh no, terrible, terrible. You can't be shopping. You can't be watching. This isn't the LCS. You gotta be on your character at all times, and you can't be watching other lanes. So yeah, a little bit of a full puck coming in from Sigafy there. CB Infusion still in a decent position. We're able to scale up with the Dragons, which we established earlier. That is going to be potentially the win condition for them. They don't care about giving away early gold, as long as Tassimony and Sigafy are able to stay ahead.
Yeah, ideally, as long as they can keep that gold lead in a way that it's not super out of control, they're going to be quite fine. The difference in mid lane as well is super, super important. Ooh, the bot lane barrage. Oh.
Yeah, the tidal wave does not land, and Signify is gonna have to use Flash to try to get away from that one, but Indigo's gonna be able to put a lot of damage in onto both the Soju and Signify. Really, really a ton of damage there.
Yeah, and both of them are over level 6 compared to Yosu and Signify that are level 6 and 5 respectively. So this difference... Oh, Signify. I'm not sure if he's... Yeah, I'm actually not sure. Oh, this is really sad.
Yeah, that's rough. Another... It might have been a DC that first time too, but regardless, you know, backing right at tower when you know that you've got two, you know, decently ranged champions, especially with that piercing light from Indigo, is going to end up costing Signify their life once again, and that's a 2-kill bounty for Indigo now. It's going to be picking up that Gale Force.
Yeah, and honestly, those 2 kills can be quite important for the early stages because we talked about how the mid-game team fighting was going to be an important strength of AKM. So having the Lucian already on a full completed mythic with the value that Ratchet will add onto the Lucian with the Nami, it can be quite dangerous. So I want to see how AKM move around with this because the Dragon will spend quite soon, and I want to see if they try to force a fight there or if they go for the other objective.
Yeah, Dragon's going to be spawning in about 23 seconds. It's going to be that Hextech Drake. And so, you know, a little bit of a pseudo prediction here for you, TDS. You've got 3 Drakes that you could potentially go for: Inferno, Cloud, or Ocean. What do you think it's going to be here for game 1?
Cloud.
Cloud?
Yeah. I'm sad, but I Cloud.
You know, the first one that came into my head was Ocean, so I'm going to go Ocean Drake here for game 1. Magical Cow, thoughts for you really quick? Cow's gonna say something, I'm sure. But, okay. Okay, off-screen, Ratchet's gonna get caught out of position, most likely, and will get hit away. Snoop Donk, I guess what happened there was Snoop Donk was able to get a nice safeguard into a Dragon's Rage, and that's gonna result in the Dragon getting taken, and we're both wrong. It's the Infernal Soul coming out.
Okay, I'm happy I'm wrong because I wanted to see the Infernal, but that kind of pickup, especially when you know that on their top side it's a Talia and the Mundo both trying to just get the Herald, I'm kind of surprised that we see Ratchet in such a position that he gets punished. Ooh.
Yeah, Fluke is going to try to go for this one. He's going to flash away from the Chaos Storm, but is going to get hit by a turret shot, and that's going to be enough with the enhanced auto attack to pick up Fluke, their second death of the game. Meanwhile, on the top side of the Rift, Marios is going to be in trouble, going to try to be able to pick up a kill there. The first tower is going to fall. Legault James is still alive, and Hexmas without mana is going to give the kill over to Legault James. Marios will fall with 25 seconds remaining on that death timer. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Indigo is going to get targeted as well. Going to flash forward, and is going to be able to take down a Soju. A huge play for Akuma Blades, but CBI will not go out of that one empty-handed as Snoop Donk is going to be able to pick up the kill against Indigo. Ratchet's going to get hit by the resonating strike, and that's going to be enough for Snoop Donk to pick up another one.
Yeah, he flashed too early and also waited the timing for the bubble quite nicely. If not for a Josu committing a little bit too far forward, that could have been a clean 2-0. But it's a kill that they got onto the Lucian that had a bounty. So that's actually a lot of gold going into the pockets of the Lee Sin. Yes, the first turret fell down and the Ornn was getting quite heavily collapsed. But all in all, I think for CBI, it's not a bad trade. Gold still is equal. Mid lane is completely dominating. The Victory is super strong. And they are ramping up into their powerful spots, slowly but surely.
And you said it earlier, and we got to highlight it again. It looks like Marios is not afraid to sack this top lane. That is not the objective here for CB and Fusion. Yeah, Tazimony going to be potentially in trouble as Legault James is going to be able to put in a little bit of damage. Signify will come in for some assistance, and so that's going to be enough to get away. But Signify was seen, so Fluke is going to take that Encore.
Yeah, taking the Encore and also forcing out the ultimate for Tazimony may be a situation where they can try and play around that ultimate being down. Do they commit here for Fluke? No flash, has the Encore. Okay,
okay. Yeah, Goat was seen, and Snoop Donk is going to use the Sonic Wave into the Resonating Strike, but that's just going to be a walk away.
Like the trade. Yeah, but I like the trade. They blow up the ultimate from the Mundo, which is important to try and play around with the Mundo as well. So it's not a bad trade that they opted for. This turret is down, yeah.
Yeah, a decent macro play, I think, coming in from Akuma Blades. They recognize that there are multiple members in the mid lane, and so Ratchet and Indigo are able to push forward, and Soju without summoner spells at level 9 is not able to stop the siege, and it's going to be outer turret number 2 going down. Akuma Blades now up by about 1.7.
Yeah, and they are trying to keep the map pressure up in the side lanes. We were talking about this, how I want to see them with the Talia trying to pressure the side lane, because if you can get those turrets down, if you can put the 131 setup with the Sylas and the Mundo, and then utilize the Talia effectively, you can get a lot done in the side lanes. And Victor is not necessarily one of the champions that you want to have in the side lane to try and contest a Sylas or a Mundo, not because he's weak, but because he can get collapsed on, and that collapse may just end up being detrimental for the team. Oh, Encore hits?
Okay, Fluke is
Ooh.
going to get hit by the charm and will be forced to flash away. We are level 10 for Hexmist, probably waiting to get level 11 so that they can use the enhanced range on that Weaver's Wall before they go in for something. Tassimony, though, going to be put down to about half HP, and the Encore is going to be used as well for Sigify, getting no
Painful.
result.
Yeah, painful. One hits, the other one misses. Signify doesn't hit this one, but in teamfights, if you hit the important ones, that's what actually matters. And now with the dragon coming up in 1 minute, I want to see if they do actually commit for this fight on the side of CBI, because they already got 2 dragons. They don't need to go for the third one unless they really, really, really want to threaten the dragon soul as a win condition, which they can do, but I feel like it's risky at this point in the game.
Siege in the mid lane. We're not able to get the Demolish proc onto the towers, so you don't lose that massive chunk of damage. Cow, if we can look at Indigo and Ratchet's flash timer really quickly, see when those are going to be available, because that might be an important aspect here of this game. Flash is maybe not going to be up, but we are going to get a fight now as Fluke is coming through. We got 2 Call of the Forge guys, going to be able to get a nice
really
knock-up
nice
from Fluke. Signify without Encore is going to be able to make sure that Fluke is able to get away, but that's going to be snooped off with a great Sonic Wave resonating strike into the Dragon's Rage. That's both Fluke and Hexmist going down Weaver's Wall, nor the Flash not even used in that play, with the Dragon now spawned. Goat James is trying to be able to heal and put in as much resistance as possible, but it's going to be forced to flash away as well. And the laser will execute the mad scientist of Zon. Dragon goes over to CBI in a 3-for-1.
Yeah, and the mad scientists get executed, like you're saying. Maybe another one on Ratchet. No, he runs away. He runs away fast enough, but the dragon does not escape. That's a soul point for CBI, Infernal soul point, in a position that I really didn't think that you needed to fight. Not because it's bad or they couldn't, but it's risky. But the way that they played that was really effective, because they focused first of all onto the Sylas, forced out the ultimate that he stole, but with the value of the Ornn that he's more tanky than the Sylas, they were able to get a lot of position in their advantage. Then Snoop Dogg just committed to go for the kill. He's 5-1. Well, he was 3-1 at that play, and I really like that he sacrificed himself in a way, because he went for Hexmix. So it's not like you're losing that much, and then the value of the Lee Sin ended up being much, much higher. This also, the fact that the Ornn gets the knockup just in the tip is really good. But this is fine by the Lee Sin. You trade 2-for-1. You're doing an amazing job in this fight. Oh.
As we get to look into the mid lane, we're going to get a tidal wave going to drop onto 3 members of CBI. As the Call of the Forge God's going to get used. Indigo is going to be putting a lot of damage. That's a 4-man Encore. Signify is redeeming themselves. But there's not really any more follow-up there. But with their jungler down, Akuma Blades might just have to sack the Baron. That's going to be up in about a minute.
No,
actually,
they have
can't go for Baron,
yeah.
but it's Rift Herald that's going to get taken. Pardon me. Huge play there for Signify. Great Encore.
Yeah, we talked about this. It's okay if you miss the Encores as long as in the teamfights you actually hit them. And that's what Signify is doing. Those are the timings that you really value. Now with a Rift Herald here, they can try and pressure some of the side lane turrets. A lot of gold that is still yet to get taken for the side of CBI. And this gold lead is not really showing the actual gold that it's left in the map for them to collect. Mario's pushing this way, should be a little bit careful, but it has the support of the Seraphine of the rest of the team on the side, so it shouldn't be that difficult for them. They could even go for an actual push with the Herald here.
They can. I mean, they get that Herald very, very late, so the opportunity to go for Herald into potentially a Baron play is also on the table. And like you said, you know, the gold grab right now doesn't represent the state of the game that CBI has put themselves in. They've got 3 dragons. They picked up 4 out of the 5 beginning neutral objectives. Tassimony is in such an advantage right now. 9.4k. Indigo is 1.4k behind. There's really very little that Akuma Blades has going for them right now, and despite having the gold lead for, I'm thinking, not much longer, this game is going perfectly for CBI.
Yeah, CBI is playing the kind of game that they needed to. Not give a massive gold lead in any way. Ajosu needs to be careful. Yeah, it's fine. Not give a massive gold lead in any way. Try and keep the game in arm's reach, and they have been doing that perfectly. Collecting any kind of objective that they can. Have been doing that marvelously as well. 3 dragons, 1 herald out of the 2. So they have been managing what they can do and what they can accomplish in this game so far really, really well.
Yeah, very, very
Marius
nicely done. And, you know, and you talk about that, you just said, you know, Marios is indeed a tank, as we do get a play in the mid lane. Ratchet is going to get hit by the Encore, is going to get hit by everything, is going to try to flash away, but will get dropped by a great use of that True Shot Barrage.
Are they going for this?
And Ratchet is dead. I mean, it's a 4v5. You did use 3 ultimates, but Snoop Dogg feeling confident in their abilities to be able to go for this Baron potentially.
Luca still has ulti to steal. Maybe the Seraphins, okay, gets the Ezreal. No, they are actually going to sack it. They are trying to go for an attempt to steal here with X-Fluke, which shouldn't be, yeah, the really nice control there. I was thinking maybe because of the Talia ultimate, they could try and set them up inside of a pit, and then with a Seraphine ultimate, they can try and go for a collapse. But Lucian was also really low. Look at the health from the Lucian, he didn't back, so his health bar was actually quite low compared to where CBI was, and I think that was one of the main reasons why they didn't commit for the Baron here. Great play by CBI, great flash by Sigafai. Once again, starting the fight as a Seraphine, not common, and making everything work out for CBI.
There are 2 major things that I think have happened in this game for CBI that have worked out really, really well for them, and then we can talk about this in the draft. It is Snoop Dogg being an early game jungler and getting into the lead, and Tassimony having a highlight game. 4-0. Baron is available for another 3.5 minutes. Dragon's going to be up in 20 seconds, and it's soul point potentially for CBI.
Yeah, and there's everything to win for CBI here and everything to lose for AKM, because CBI can really just opt to give it up. They can push like they're doing right now. 4 members, every member is beyond the river, so they can actually get an inhibitor out of this play. And if they want to turn around, they can also go for it, because that would mean that they are separated. This could actually be a Nexus for Dragon kind of trade.
Huge play coming in from CB. I love the macro advantage as the Dragon gets taken. Shelly is going to get 2 headbutts and maybe even a 3rd. The hat trick is on the table for Shelly, and she indeed drops it as we do potentially have a game-ending play. Mundo is going to be able to take 1. Marius is going to fall, as well as Snoop Dogg, which will deny any further aggression, but that is 2 kills and a dragon for 2 towers, 3 towers, and an inhibitor.
Oh, wait.
And it's not over yet, though. Tassimony might be in trouble. Tassimony's going to try to be able to get away. Sigafai does not have Encore. Fluke is going to get ignited. And there drops the Mage of Demacia. And there's no further follow-up, so it's even better for CBI.
Yeah, 3 turrets, 1 inhibitor, and they get as well a kill on 2x Fluke. Namely, I don't think, I'm not sure how much gold he gives because he was 0-3, but it's still a net win for CBI. They still have the Baron buff, although it should be really soon that it gets completely down, and they can now try and play for the next dragon. Like we were saying, they don't need that dragon. They have 3 dragons already. They can just play for whatever they want to, try and get an advantage, and use that to their maximum value.
Muramana was just unlocked there for a Soju. 1-1 and 6. It hasn't really been a part of the game, but, you know, we got to talk about how this happened. A just phenomenal macro play from CBI.
I do think Mario is a little bit kind of funny here how he opted into this, although great ultimate, but he committed here to try and get the knockup, and he thought he was tankier than he was actually. Also Snoop Dogg here, taking way too much damage. If they don't take that amount of damage here, and they just try and play around their cooldowns a little bit better, knocking off the Sylas and all that, I can see them even threatening this second turret.
Very, very nice performance coming through. We get to see it again. The teleport coming in from Fluke just...
Was a nice attempt.
I guess. You end up getting ignited, though.
Yeah, but you have to go for this because if you get the kill onto Testimony, that is huge. That is actually really huge. It's 700 gold bounty that you give away, and it also provides opportunity to try and go for another turret because there's no wave clear anymore.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, Tassimony's still 4-0-5, 10 stacks on that Dark Steels. We get a 5-man siege into this bottom lane inner turret. Going to be defended for the time being, but this is a full summoner spell ready to go. They're trying to poke off as much as they can as Mario's still there with that call. The Forge God can drop it. It is still a 4v5. Hexmas does still have access to the Weaver's Wall if they want to initiate. As we do get Fluke going to try to drop the ultimate, but it's going to be the actual encore from Signify going to land onto multiple members. No one is dead just yet, but a ton of ultimates used. 3 for Akuma Blades, 4 for CBI, but they get the inner tower and they walk away.
Yeah, they tried to go for it after the turret was down, and I think the mistake here is not trying to go for the play when the minions are coming in. Because if they force the play when the minions are coming into the base, the super minions, that means that someone has to stay attention into there. And if Thalia opts into using the ultimate to try and force the fight, it's easier to respond as well for CBI. I think the timing was a little messed up, but they did force some things out of AKM, as well as just trying to put the pressure and be able to back away. Like, they don't need to overcommit for a fight. They can do this kind of things, disengage, and then re-engage when they actually want to.
I mean, it's a decent position. You're able to pick up a tower out of that one, and you reset just in time to be able to go for this tower, and now maybe looking to go for a play here in the mid lane. Ratchet and Fluke maybe too far forward. Snoop Dogg not able to get the Dragon's Rage that they were looking for, so it's just going to be a back away for the time being.
Yeah, now moving towards the Baron, it's in 30 seconds. Dragon is 1 minute, so I can see them trying to rush it down and then go for the Dragon. Once again, CBI is not in a rush to go for the Baron, so they are willing to go for this kind of trade, particularly because they with the Baron, they can actually force the push to win. With the Dragon, it's a little bit more difficult, not because it's impossible, but because the damage, like, they already deal a lot of damage anyway, so it's not like adding to that would change a lot of things. Oh?
Your shot barrage is going to drop, as well as the call of the Forge God. Hexmas is going to be able to avoid it, as we do get the call of the Forge God from Fluke as well. Going to be able to land the knockup onto 2. Go James is going to be hit by so much CC, and is going to have to try to flash away. A great seismic shove from Hexmas is able to get a lot of damage coming through, but it's not going to matter. So tanky. It's just so much health from CBI. They're going to be able to drop Fluke. And with the Dragon spawning in less than 10 seconds, Hexmas is down to less than 300 HP. Oh my god, the fish just got filleted right away. No way to be out of that play. That is a 2-for-0 trade in favor of CBI, and they get Infernal Soul, and they're on their way to Baron.
Yeah, they get both prices. We were talking about how maybe they would be willing to go for a trade because they'd rather have one than the other, but why not have both if you can? And that's what they are going to get at the end from CBI. Great team fighting, and we're just seeing the sheer difficulty that AKM is facing right now. They are lacking potential threat onto the backline. Not only the fact that Victoris is super strong at this point, 3 items should have another one coming up as soon as they back, but the Ezreal barely takes damage. The Serbian is doing such an amazing job at healing them, and the front line, the Lee Sin and Ornn are doing such a good job at threatening as well onto other members from AKM, so it feels impossible for them to try and play a straight teamfight without having to overcommit and even trade.
I think the expectation here is that CBI should be able to close out this game within the next 2.5 minutes with Baron and Infernal Soul. You've just got so much advantage right now. It's going to take a really strong play from Akuma Blades to be able to deny this from happening, and they're looking to go in for some cheese, a death rush there near the Raptor Pit, but all 5 members of CBI are sticking together. Tyler is going to be able to land onto 2. Oh, and they are able to drop Tassimony. Huge for Akuma Blades, but now can they clean up the rest of this one? And Fluke is going to fall. That's going to be Mario's going to be so low, will fall to Indigo. It's 3v3. Snoop Dogg, who's still powerful, is going to be able to take one. Indigo tries to flash forward and is going to go down. And it's a Soju and Snoop Dogg trying to be able to finish the job. It's going to be Ratchet trying to be able to get away, as all 4 members of Akuma Blades that are other than Ratchet end up dying. And with the Nami with less than 1 HP,
14
CBI is
seconds.
looking to use that bear to potentially end the game.
10
They've got
seconds.
a Soju and Snoop Dogg that are trying to be able to finish the job. Ratchet is back up to full HP, but does not have Tidal Wave. Did use the Aqua Prison and is going to try to go golden, and does go golden. But now, Fluke is on the way.
Ratchet
Ratchet
is
is
still
still alive and is going to be able to get back to base, but we got a teleport coming through from Tassimony to try to finish this game off, and
the
they
Victor came
are
back.
looking to do it. They're looking to defend. They get it, and CBI will win game 1.
That pick at the end, like, I want to say it, that pick at the end was monumental from the side of this is Virtue Gaming, but it's not Virtue Gaming, from AKM. That pick on the Victor was monumental. The only problem is that it didn't matter because I thought that there was actually going to be enough to be able to clean up the fight because the Victor was down. Wasn't even able to use anything to try and survive there, to even get some damage done. But the Ezreal just simply outperforming that teamfight. Same with the Lee Sin. Both the champions were able to outperform the teamfight and carry the side of CBI so effectively.
Huge performance from CBI, some really phenomenal macro plays as well,
Yeah.
but we gotta highlight, I think that there were two main factors that determined the game for CBI to win it. One of them was Tassimony having a highlight game on that Victor. Yes, get
100%.
picked out at the very end of that one, but overall, just being able to outplay multiple times, especially during that first blood at the very beginning of the match. Second, the impact that Snoop Dogg was able to have in the early stages of the game was definitely enough to warrant the early game jungler and hinder the late game scaling of Talia on or played by Hexmist.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main crucial things because we talked about what we wanted to see from the Talia with Weaver's Wall. We barely got to see any of that, and I think a huge part of that was utilizing that pressure that mid lane was able to create to then allow for Snoop Dogg on the Lee Sin to just get into the jungle, try and pressure the Talia. I think it was surprising to see how many objectives they got with the Talia being in a kind of a strong spot, being able to outclear the Lee Sin in certain areas. And I also have to give credit here to Marius because we talked about this, right? How he was willing to sack the lane. Like, he didn't care about dying. He didn't care about throwing away a couple of minions here and there to allow for the rest of the team to get even more powerful. And I think that that was also a huge factor in this game.
So, what I think we should do here is I think that we should take a quick break because I know we're kind of behind a little bit on the schedule. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to see if we can get into game number 2, get into the draft, maybe get Becky Rita in. But yeah, just give us a couple of minutes. We'll get to see if we can get into game 2, and we'll be right back.
Crazy.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here. We've got game number 2 between Akuna Blades and CB Infusion. Moose and TDS here at the desk as we get to take a look at potentially a playoff-defining match. A playoff-defining match here. Akuma Blades must win this series to still have a chance to make playoffs. If they don't, it's going to be Ragnarok Esports door, regardless of how their game plays today. So, really important game as we get to take a look at the bans to start things off. We got the Belveth ban coming through with the Teemo and the Viego. I do believe that CBI did lose 2 bans. So it might have just been joke bans. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was actually getting. Did I miss something? Yeah, did I miss something onto the meta that I no longer know what champions are actually worth it? But the Viego ban makes sense. The Viego ban here makes sense. That's all I can say here.
Yeah, interesting to see, you know, Akuma Blades, they are not banning any of the champions that they saw in game 1. The Victor is still going to be available for Tassimony. The Lee Sin is still going to be available for Snoop Donk, but they do decide to ban out the Karma, the Diana, and the Volibear. 2 very strong AP tank-style junglers, as well as one of the best bully supports in the bottom lane. And then they run it back. They're going to go with the Lucian again. A B1 pick for Akuma.
Oh. And the answer here, Ashe in the leasing. Well, Lucian, we need to say that it's still a flex potential here. So kind of surprising that is still not into consideration. But first pick here can still work out marvelous. Nami is still open, so we may see the Lucian Nami once again. But I just want to say something with this Ashe. We have seen Ashe support. I'm pretty sure we have seen Ashe support previously, so I'm not going to completely throw it out of the window because I feel like this may be a game, especially against a Lucian Nami bot lane, when you want to spam. I can see the Ashe being one of those kind of things here.
Yeah, I mean, Ashe, does play somewhat in the same role as, like, maybe a Seraphine, for example. You're able to slow, you're able to get a nice stun if you're able to land it. But, you know, the Lee Sin is going to get picked up once again for Snoop Donk, going to have the opportunity to maybe have a repeat performance of their success in game 1. But this time, in game 2, Akuma Blades have decided not to go with the late game scaling jungler. They have instead opted to go up with the Xin Zhao. And CB Infusion, they are putting priority on making sure that Ornn is available and not banned out. It's going to be picked in R3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of pick that you can go for. Yes, it can get countered, but based on what we saw from CBI, I think they are willing to throw away this kind of top lane matchup as long as they can benefit the rest of the team. Now, with this, there may be attacks towards the mid lane pool because we know now that top lane will be the Ornn unless something crazy goes on and he goes to the support position. But you can target here, for example, the Victor that we saw in the previous game. Maybe go for Veigar as well or Orianna, which are kind of safe comfort picks that you can really go well with. And apart from this Sylas ban already, they are attacking the mid lane pool from CBI. I think AKM as well. Seraphine is the one that is banned instead.
Yeah, Seraphine was picked in the R3 spot for CBI in game 1. More or less just wanting to make sure that you don't get that Seraphine again. I think Signify played it very, very well. And like you said, it does still have flexibility. It can go into the mid lane or it could potentially be in an AD position. But it's not going to be the case. We're going to instead see the Renata get paired up with Ashe. Not the most common combination, but if you are able to land the hostile takeover, you can get a ton of layered on CC with this bottom lane.
Yeah, like you have a lot of slows, a lot of ultimate value here with the CC that you can get. So I'm not completely against it. And with a Lucian Nami kind of situation as well with the Xin Zhao, the hostile takeover may be valuable if you're not able to really touch some of these champions. Make them touch themselves. That sounds so weird, but I think you get the idea. And Victor gets picked on the other side.
I get it. I completely understand. You're perfectly fine. I understand what you're trying to get at. But it is, I think, a really solid pickup here. It is a roll. Cow. That was a funny little play there from our producer and Magical Cow. But regardless, you know, I actually really think that the Renata is such a heads up pick because Nami as a champion is like the anti-Renata, or Renata is the anti-Nami in terms of both of these champions want to use their ultimate to try and complete a certain goal with that, a tidal wave style ultimate. Nami can utilize the ultimate and then everyone goes in against her. You get the extra movement speed from getting hit by the tidal wave. You're able to then, follow up with extra damage, and it's great. Renata loves it when you go right in front of her face. She'll just pop the hostile takeover and say, okay, your play is done, and now we're gonna turn it around on you. So I think it's a really good heads up play. They're gonna pair that up with the CC from the Ornn, the CC from the Lee Sin, the CC from the Ashe, as well as the burst damage from the Veigar. I'm really liking this draft for CBI once again.
Yep, I think that they have clear ideas. Front to back team fighting is still a thing. With the Veigar roundup, I think that it's really good to keep control over certain areas. And because of the picks of both the Xin Zhao and Trundle, which I think can come in quite handy for AKM to try and threaten the backline and the front line to make them less durable, I think that the Veigar here to disengage is also a good tool. They have a lot of tools to disengage, a lot of tools to engage, and they have late game damage, which I think it's going to be quite important, especially to burst out targets like the Victor, like the Nami, like the Lucian. So all in all, really good composition, I think, round up for in reality, I think for both sides, because I also feel like AKM's composition a little bit better than the last game. They have much more late game threat, and the pillar, I think it's going to be a really important factor to play around with, because even though there's escapes for some of these champions, Ashe and Renata are not necessarily the most mobile, neither the Veigar, so the pillar may come in really handy.
I have to agree. I'm very happy with the. I'm really happy with what the decision was to go for an early game jungle. I like the adaptation here because Hexmist, this is a redemption game. They didn't get the opportunity to really pop off in game one because of, I think, being such a late game heavy champion in the Taliyah. And when you're going up against a Lee Sin, you really can't make that happen unless you've got your mechanics down, unless you've got the macro play to a T. And unfortunately, they didn't really get to do that in game one ever since Hexmist fell behind and gave that kill over to Snoop Dogg. There was just not really much that they could do. But I want to bring back Becky Rita because we haven't seen them on the desk for a little bit. I want to get some thoughts, get some opinions on the draft, maybe just for a minute or two before we take it to a break, because this could potentially be the last regular season game of the match or of the season, and anything can happen. But Becky Rita, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a very it's a very it is a kind of a unique draft in terms of how they were going about it. And I kind of, if either of you have a screenshot of the draft so I can reference it, I did not get one of my own. Hold on, wait, I took a clip of it. Right, I was editing a clip for no reason. Don't worry about it, TDS.
Oh no.
So
Okay,
I
it's
have a
fine.
bit of the draft here. So yeah, I think that these are some very strong CBI's going for a lot of just pretty standard team fighting. Along with the Lee Sin, Lee Sin's there to get picks. He's very solid at doing that. And the Ashe, Renata, and Ornn are all very excellent in skirmishes. So I feel like they've drafted a very competent composition, and Akuma Blades is going for a lot more early aggression and more mid-game power with the Xin Zhao and the Lucian, and the Victor, sort of. Victor's definitely better late game, but, you take what you can get. I do not see the last two picks for either of the two teams on the clip that I
Trundle,
have.
Veigar.
Trundle,
Trundle,
Veigar. Oh yeah, CBI
Veigar.
picked Veigar. I love Veigar. Awesome champ. Happy to see him get picked up. I do. He's good for zone control, which really helps out Renata. Renata likes to have champions who can work with her to corral enemies into a position where they can get absolutely shredded by a hostile takeover. But
Correct me if I'm wrong. Does the hostile takeover is the size of
the baby
the
cage,
horizon?
it's a
Yeah.
little, the hostile takeover is a little bit wider.
Okay,
So
so it's
it'll
actually it is
it'll
actually better.
guarantee cover it. Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
guarantee
that's good.
cover the baby cage. So that is a very solid combo, and it makes walking into choke points incredibly difficult for the side of Akuma Blades, and they kind of need to. they have Victor as their own sort of zone control, but Trundle needs to run at people. Lucian needs to run at people. Xin Zhao needs to run at people. It's
Next
really
one.
hard for them to get onto the comp of CBI, who can just stay safe and keep control of objective points and these major choke points on the map. I think that CBI drafted just an incredible comp this game, personally. Like, the only point that I'm not a big fan of is the Lee Sin, but I do get it.
I think the
I
Lee
think
Sin
that
is.
it works. Just to
Oh,
quickly,
sorry.
yeah, just no, just to add to that because like to me the thing with Listen is to facilitate. Like he's a good champion to
Mhm.
facilitate the transition between early and mid game, because of how much value he brings, and I feel like that's the idea here as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
Um,
Moose.
I wanted to highlight on what I think is going to be the X factor here for this game, and it's going to have to be Hexmas on this Xin Zhao. If Crescent Guard can be used correctly, you can, I think, mitigate the hostile takeover, which I think we all agree is the most powerful of the ultimates in for CB Infusion. That and the Ornn, because Crescent Guard, it does block, right? Like it's like a windfall, like Samira's.
Yeah.
So you are needing that to be utilized super effectively. If not, it's going to be a CBI win. But if Crescent Guard can be used correctly, I think it's going to be just fine. And you brought up a really great point there, Becky Rita, about this hostile takeover and about the draft coming in from Akuma Blades. They knew going into B4, B5, they knew that they were going up against Renata. That was not, unknown to them. And they still draft the Trundle. Do you think that that is a drafting error? Do you think that they needed that to be, completing their draft?
I really feel like maybe they went for comfort. Maybe they feel like the Trundle is just like a really power pick. And Trundle is quite a good champion. So it's not like he's a useless character. And the Trundle pillar works great for zone control along with the Victor. So and the Nami wave as well is really good for fighting and choke points. So both of these teams are looking to try and get those kind of team fights and those kind of picks, but it just feels like CBI has a way better comp for doing that. And a way better comp to actually win the fight before it starts, which is what both of these teams I think are trying to do. But
I think this is
I
logical.
think I think with that we can go ahead and either throw it to game or just throw it to a break or throw it to game if it's ready. I think we need to get some layout stuff, so we'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, we will be in the game for game 2 between Akuma Blades and CBI. We'll have to see who can take home this win and secure that last playoff spot after the break.
And welcome back, everybody. We are here. We've got, the best production this side of the Mississippi with that magical cow showing us how it's done. Game 2 of week 7 of the VTS is underway. As you can see on your screen here, both teams looking to be able to get this win. And for Akuma Blades, a must-win game. If they lose out in this series, they are, for all intents and purposes, eliminated from the VTS. So, important battle for sure.
Yeah, there's no second chances if they lose this one. Or I think actually they do get. I'm not sure how it if they get a tiebreaker anyway if both of them lose. I'm not actually sure how the head-to-head works in that manner, but it's easier if they just win these two games. I think that's the way that you should look at it.
Exactly. Really quickly, we do want to talk about that. They did, as the Sonic Wave does land, no poking there. Did get an update on RST versus Gang 7 Mirage. Gang 7 Mirage was able to win game 1, so both of these teams are currently sitting 0-1 in their matches, trying to be able to keep their chances of winning this series alive.
Yeah, like winning here. Actually, not sure. Oh, they changed the jungle. Yeah, Vitalize instead of Hex Mist. I actually didn't notice. Thanks, production. And yeah, that is an interesting change. Also, could be logical what they also changed the pool of champions instead of opting once again for the Talia, going for the Xin Zhao. But I want to see how does Vitalize then play, because we need to see the aggression coming from the Xin Zhao and try and get that early prowess coming in for the side of AKM.
Exactly. Xin Zhao with the opportunity to be one of the best early game junglers in the meta right now. Not the best. I think that there are others like the Volibear, which is going to be a pretty powerful and impactful play. Lee Sin, we've seen kind of make a little bit of a resurgence here in the meta in 12-11, 12-10, and 12-12, or 12-10, 12-11, pardon me. But Xin Zhao does still provide a lot of play, and for a lot of these players, they have played a ton of Xin Zhao earlier in Season 12, so it's could be somewhat of a comfort pick.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure these players know what to expect to come with the Xin Zhao. Like, it's not completely out of nowhere how that this champion came out, so I'm really expecting to see the side of Vitalize play this champion to his, I don't want to say utmost potential, but oh wait, the pull from Indigo.
Okay, going to be a lot of damage on Indigo. First blood.
Josu.
Going to go over to a Soju, who's going to try to be able to survive this one. Signify does have the opportunity to heal up, but it's not quite enough healing at this early stage of the game, so it ends up being a 1-for-1.
It's a 1-for-1, but the kill goes to Yosu, and the kill goes to Nami instead from the side of AKM. So all in all, I think advantageous trade for CBI. And if Sigafai can keep the wave in this spot, it's going to be even better for the side of CBI. They won't lose that much minions. Sigafai is fine, I think. They won't lose that much minions, and they can set up a slow push to try and then collapse with the jungler. Thanks to this play as well, the Lee Sin is ahead of the Xin Zhao in terms of camps.
Exactly. Very, very important here to, maybe see how much more Snoop Dogg is able to get. But, I mean, for now, a little bit of an awkward pathing from Vitalize. Decided to go for the blue. I think it was blue Gromp, red Raptors. It's a little bit weird.
It was a 4-cam. It was a 4-cam, I think, to try and maybe collapse on the Lee Sin if Lee Sin was pathing towards the bot side of the map, which to try and get into the enemy jungler, I can understand because they have the push. So with that, I feel like they could collapse into the enemy jungle, but it meant that Xin Zhao now is behind the pace of the game because he went for the invade and got nothing at all. So he now is just collecting the rocks, and Lee Sin already back, getting an advantage. Meanwhile, the Xin Zhao is still not yet back fully. Attempted to get a gank here, but not. I don't think the best of spots.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Both Signify and Soju are going to play, I think, relatively safe. The wave is pushing in. If the Wind Becomes Lightning does land, flashing forward, but misses the Wind Becomes Lightning, and a beautiful handshake. An amazing handshake from Signify.
That was crucial from Signify to hit, because Ash didn't either have neither flash nor heal. Oh, wait.
Okay, now
Vitalize.
Snoop
Use
Dogg
flash.
is back and does have the item advantage with that pickaxe. Vitalize also no flash out of that play, so just gonna have to back away, but taking a ton of damage.
Yeah, missing the Q from the Lee Sin there could potentially have threatened the kill onto the Lee Sin, onto the Xin Zhao, but because they forced out the Xin Zhao in that location, it means that they do have position for the dragon, as well as the Victor backing away, not having teleport even. So this is a great spot to collect dragon, and continuation from the previous game, they are collecting the first dragon of the game, Ocean Drake, into their hands.
I disagree. Respectfully, these are players that are 100 times
Yeah.
better than me. But I respectfully disagree with the pick on cleanse from Fluke. Do you think that it was necessary?
I can see the argument here being kind of like how you go against Lissandra, right? Where you have to kind of take it because if you get stunned once, you're dead. But it is also true that because of that, you lose pressure in the map, and you kind of are now subject to whatever the Veigar wants to do because he can move around.
And they want to go for a dive,
Yeah.
and it is easy, breezy, beautiful. Cover Vygar as the tiny master of evil
Marios.
is able to take one. Marios is going to take 2 turret shots.
He's fine.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What a play. Amazing performance.
It does mean that 2 plays in the top lane go completely uncontested, but it's the kind of play that I think Mario's, as we saw in the previous game, is willing to go because that puts the Veigar in such a great spot now. You blew the ultimate, the cooldowns out of the Veigar to try and go for the kill, but you get the first blood, one of the kills onto the Veigar, you get the ultimate kill there, and he can come back into the turret. Oh, it's actually the Ornn that is tipping into the mid lane to protect it. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the Unbound Spellbook from Marios, he's going to be able to, can go into the top lane if he wants to, but you can just put Tassimony up into the top lane against Lego James and force the Trundle into a bit of an awkward spot. But I actually don't mind this matchup. Ornn does have a decent time in the early game, especially up against these scaling mages, because they just can't get through all of the health that the Ornn, and in this case Marios, has.
Like, it can be pokey, they can get poked out or something like that, but yeah, it should be really hard. Although with the Veigar coming here, it is kind of bad for the Ornn and the Veigar to a certain degree because they were sharing experience, and for neither of the champions you really want to have to do that much. Still, I think that pushing the wave is quite fine, and as long as the Ornn is not super far behind, it's okay. Although Marius here may end up dying. Like, this is a really bad spot.
Mario's trying to be able to get the knockup, but Snoop Dogg is on the way now. May have
saw them.
seen the Lee Sin, and that's probably what happened there, but is going to get hit by the pillar and the slow coming through. Go James will be able to get away. Most importantly, though, I want to pay attention to Tassimony right now. Tried to go in for a deep ward and ended up getting caught out by both Fluke and Vitalize. Will have to use their flash.
Yeah, and that's not the greatest of things to try and play around with. Oh, wait, the ulti?
Okay, Ratchet is gonna flash forward,
Oh.
and he does
The heal.
get the loyalty program. The bailout is coming through.
Oh,
We'll
we
be able
can
to pick up one, and it's Signify that will be able to pick up the other. That's a 2-for-1 trade.
Yeah, kind of things that you can do with the Renata revive because that champion really gets a lot of value of that. And the Ashe once again getting another kill. Lucian gets one back, which is great for him, but if not for these kills, this lane could have been way worse for the Ashe. Look at the CS discrepancy that is building up already in the bot lane. It's not something that you really want to play with, and the fact that the 2 kills are in the pocket of the Ashe means that she can still be quite safe from complete destruction.
Oh, it's
Again?
a repeat performance. Going to get hit up by the Event Horizon, and that should be enough. Tassimony is going to potentially be in trouble, though. Oh, they can't repeat the performance. Vitalize was over on the red side of the rift and was able to pick up one. Help pick up one as they are able to go in. Pardon me.
I was just going to say, like, they pick up back the kill. I don't think a lot on Vitalize. I feel like it's a complete misplay for Tassimony because he used the ultimate before the damage came through. So if he actually just waits a little bit, that could have been an easy kill for the Veigar. Oh, Indigo gets killed here,
yeah, way out of
Even
position.
if you hit that.
That does not hit.
Yeah, it doesn't even hit a minion. That's how bad of an arrow it was. But even with that, I don't think you win the fight. So trying to go for a play in there, Ayosu getting completely punished, and for the matchup that was selected for CBI, not really going that well. When you look at them in the scoreboard, the CS differences in each lane, everyone is losing apart from the Veigar. That's the only lane that is kind of playing, that is kind of winning in a certain sense. But because of the kill that just happened, it's no longer the case. Like they are pretty equal. So the fact that each of the lanes are losing or just equal, it's not that good for CBI.
Yeah, it's a 1.3k gold advantage that will not get fixed due to a Rift Herald getting dropped somewhere, potentially in the mid lane to open that up. Dragon is going to be up, and I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say that it's going to, or I can't stick to my guns. We're going to get an Infernal Soul here in game 2.
I think it potentially can be quite a bit.
Okay, Vitalize, though, is going to get hit by everything. Great use of the Crescent Guard, but it did not matter. It's the Tidal Wave and the massive Aqua Prism that comes through. But Snoop Dogg is able to take it down, Vitalize, and now able to come back in to finish the job. Snoop Dogg's going to be able to get another one as Mario's able to flash away from the Chaos Storm and the Aqua Prism. As got Snoop Dogg trying to land the Resonating Strike, but it's Ratchet that's going to be able to drop Snoop Dogg. No one takes the Dragon, and Legoat James gets free time on that tower.
Yeah, and the important part here, it's a 4v5 that gets started by CBI. They lose a 5 because it's an equal trade, but realistically, because the Trundle is in top lane, getting that first turret, it doesn't really matter if you trade equally. It's always going to be a lose for you. CBI get a couple of kills back, but once again, misplaying against the Xin Zhao. The value of the ultimate there really, really huge. And importantly, I think Veigar mistiming the ultimate once again, going way too early for it before actually getting the full-on damage. And I think that difference in killing the Xin Zhao really made up the fight. Because if the Xin Zhao dies much quicker, then the commitment that they have with Yorn, with the rest of the members, could have been way better. They still get the Dragon though.
They still do. CBI is going to be at the river first, and they will pick up Dragon number 2 once again, getting that advantage. Mountain Rift, though, so resistances abound for both of these teams, especially for CBI if they are able to get the Mountain Soul, that extra resistances, as well as the max health shield. As well as Rift Herald, though. Rift Herald is available for Snoop Dogg to drop. But with a couple of seconds remaining on it, it looks like it is going to be a mid lane play, and they're going to get a couple of turret plates for their efforts.
I like a lot that they are going for the mid lane because that is going to be not only a lot of damage, but a lot of the value that they can get there.
Ratchet.
Yeah, Ratchet.
Oof. Not the play that you wanted as we get the call of the Forge God's going to try to land the knockup. Great use of the Gale Force from Indigo and the Relentless Pursuit to get away.
It was, and he also had to use the cleanse because of the Ash Arrow, so they did commit quite a bit to try and get the kill onto Indigo. Oh, the pullback!
Okay, they're gonna push forward, and Indigo's gonna get hit by everything,
no,
and that should be another kill here for CBI. Josu's going to get that revenge.
Yeah, but a great play by Sigafai with the flash in there. I think Mario's committing a little bit too hard to try and help the rest of the team because he's losing on the rest of the sides, but he's back to collect his wave, so all in all, not that bad. And the gold value, once again, returning a little bit for CBI. They get the kill back. I'm not sure you get this kill ever. Yeah.
Asimony may be in trouble, but a great use of the Event Horizon will make sure that they survive.
They get a blade back, which is good.
Yeah, 2 turret plates down, and Asoju not going to stay in lane to try to pick up another tower or turret plate. Instead is going to back away with the turret plates going down. We are at a 2,000 gold lead for Akuma Blades.
Yeah, Veigar has no flash here, so this collapse from the Trundle may be a little bit dangerous. But with Sigafai being here,
okay, they were going to see the Event Horizon. Oh my god! That W from Tasmony is going to be a lot. Snoop Dogg with the Resonating Strike is going to be able to make it a 1-for-1, but the Crescent Guard is going to put Tasmony into a bad spot. The bailout will get used, but it won't be enough for him to be able to stay alive. Asoju now on the way is going to try to be able to maybe pick something up on the way out. Does not have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but does have Exhaust. Is going to force a flash out of Legoat James. 3 very low members from both squads in the mid lane with Indigo in the bottom lane looking to pick up a tower.
Once again, not thinking that it's a fully worth play for the side of CBI just because Indigo is pushing down, so the gold value will be much higher for AKM. But still, they did get a couple of kills back. Sadly for Baker, he doesn't get the kill. Lee Sin dies quite quickly as well, and I would like to see the play again because the Lee Sin took a lot of damage from other side. Luckily, he hits the Q, but that could have been a really nice setup to try and get kills onto both Explode and Ratchet because of the Ash Arrow that was coming down from downtown.
Yeah, I feel like CBI is kind of playing with borrowed time here right now. They've got the 2 dragons, which are kind of mitigating some of these misplays that are coming through, but they are a little bit behind as we can take a look at that mid lane play once again.
The setup was good. I really like this. Both Snoop Dogg getting hit here, I think, because of the stun from the Nami, really bad for him. I think that he could have followed with better. And then Tassimony getting completely out of position. He also used the ultimate before again to try and secure a kill, I think, from not enough health. So it didn't turn out that great. We can see though at Josu, if he is left untouched, can deal quite a bit of damage. So that's something at least to look forward to if you're on the side of CBI.
While we were looking at that replay, Rift Herald did get secured by Vitalize and Akuma Blades to try to up that gold lead. They've had some decent macro plays in the side lanes as the damage that Lego James has been able to do is somewhat extensive, being able to get a lot of damage into that top side of the Rift. Although Signify may be looking to be able to find a play onto Ratchet, going to force the flash out of him though. But it's not over yet. Shirelia's and Predator are going to get unlocked for Tassimony to try to land the Event Horizon.
No.
Barely misses it.
Sadly, for the side of CBI, they don't get enough movement speed to get it. I don't think that this pick would have secured on the Dragon that it was in coming 40 seconds. And because of the commitment, they actually lost doubling turret. Marius needs to be careful here.
Yeah, not only are they going to lose top lane turret, but they might actually get another headbutt, the and one opportunity for Akuma Blades. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, yeah, Snoop Dogg is going to fall in a 4v3. Akuma Blades are really putting in a ton of play as Marios is going to be able to get a knockup, but they are going to lose another tower. Marios has to flash on the opposite side of this rift. Yeah, what is CBI doing? What is happening? As Mario's now potentially trying to be able to make a play coming through here. They are going to go for a hostile takeover, but it is not even close to landing. Lego James will fall, and Soju's going to be able to pick up a kill, but that's going to stop the Dragon stacking as Akuma Blades goes over to Dragon and will pick up there first.
Yeah, it does mean it's Dragon, but the play all around the map really messy coming from the side of CBI. Committing for a play in mid lane that needs to not be done absolutely. Almost could have gone for this.
Okay, so it's a double teleport, but Indigo's going to be able to flash away, and Marios is going to get hit. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow Signify is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Indigo, and it's Ratchet that will fall as well. Baron is not up, but this extended play was super messy from CBI.
Yeah, super messy, but at the end, it is an advantage for them because they do get 2 kills from the bot lane. They get the kills onto the Xinjiao as well, and they can even get the mid lane turret. Okay, maybe on the Explode, not enough, but they get value, which I think for the overall concept of what CBI wants to do so far, it's to try and scale and get to the point where they are really, really strong. And for that, getting this kind of pickups, this kind of gold, it's still really, really good. This also opens up the middle of the map, which means that they can try and get a little bit more vision onto the inside of the jungle from AKM.
All right, let's reevaluate. I guess we can't because Tassimony is just gonna try to make the player going to try to be in trouble. He'll be fine, but let's reevaluate what's happened in the last 2.5 minutes, okay? We had a play in the mid lane that resulted in Snoop Dogg going down, as well as damage into the mid lane tower. While that is happening, Lego James and Vitalize are able to use the Rift Herald on the top side of the Rift to pick up the top tier 2 tower, as well as the inhibitor tower. They end up getting caught out in their escape, and they lose 1 in that play. Lego James is staying a little bit too long and might fall here. Sure does to Tassimony, so that's going to be another kill for CBI. But while all of that was happening in the top lane, a couple of minutes ago, Akuma Blades decides to go up to the Dragon. They're able to take Mountain Drake, but they don't get out quickly enough, and it's a double teleport play from Marios and Tassimony to pick up 2 on the way out, which then allowed them to get that mid-tier 1 tower. So a lot of gold influxed into both of these teams, but regardless of that, it remains about a 2.5k gold lead for Akuma Blades.
Yeah, and one thing I want to focus on is the gold. The main gold value is on who, because when I see at CBI right now, the gold value right now it's clearly onto the Ash and onto the Veigar. Like both of them are finishing their mythics. They are quite in a good spot. Like you can see a Yosu 8.2k, the biggest gold difference in the game, and the main fact why CBI is so close because the difference between a Yosu and Indigo is not that high, but it's actually valuable to see. Chazimoni, it's the second for CBI, and then the other members are quite behind. So as long as they have the time to kind of scale and they can get gold influx into the super important members, then I think for CBI it's not that bad.
Yeah, I think, for CBI, the strategy here needs to be, protect the Ashe, VIP Ashe opportunities. Hostile takeover is going to be dropped. Enchantress's arrow will miss. Thanks to a great use of the Relentless Pursuit, Soju's going to be taking a little bit of damage as the Call of the Vortex is going to drop as well. The Eventer, Rise of the Crescent Guard, is going to be able to come in to mitigate a little bit of that damage. But it's Snoop Dogg that's coming through. Tassimony's going to be able to flash away, and Vitalize will fall. Tassimony's going to be able to survive thanks to the extra movement speed from the bailout, and that's going to mean that CBI can clean up shop. They've been able to make up 2 so far, and Snoop Dogg is looking for more. They are fishing for more. They can't quite get it, but now the rest of CBI is heading towards Baron.
Okay, I do know why they won this. Okay, that makes more sense. Because, like, Goat James is bottling, pushing, it was a 4v5 once again. If not for the huge amount of abilities that went completely missing on the side, that could have been an easier fight for CBI. But thanks to this, now the Goat James is able to push almost 1.5 turrets. Baron is getting done by CBI, though.
It is getting done, but Fluke is going to try to put in as much damage as possible. Tassimony, though, is low, but it's not going to be enough. Baron will get taken by CBI, and all 5 members will receive it and walk away.
Yeah, all in all, important play to get that Baron, because this will slow down the potential push of the turrets. Like, this means that Ornn will have an easier time trying to defend, as well as Ayosu and Tassimony can kind of force the issue a little bit more. Even if they lose the turret, they can get better pushes. And I think that for the side of CBI is going to be really, really important. Especially for the next Dragon fight, if they do actually commit to the fight.
I think that they have to. I mean, we got Wormfart and Sacrifice over there for Ayosu. They're only behind by about 1,000 gold. It's a nominal amount at 22 minutes. We've got a Death Brush getting lined up here for Akuma Blades, though, so we got to be careful of that. Signify maybe going to be the target, but it is not going to be the case. So, good play from CBI to stick together, but Snoop Dogg is going to look to see maybe going to be the target.
Why?
Snoop Dogg is the target,
Why?
and it's an assassination right before the dragon spawns. Tassimony's going to get hit by a beautiful killer, and now the play is going to try to go into Akuma Blade's favor as Tassimony's going to go. Asoju's going to come in. Asoju's going to be able to pick up 1. Marios is still alive, but it doesn't matter. Oh my god, Akuma Blades will pick up the ace.
That was way too bizarre. I'm pretty sure they can finish the game if they wanted to, because they had Trundle. Like, if they just commit to finish the game, they win, because there's Trundle. But that was way too random from Snoop Dogg. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, like nothing at all that justifies that. Because there's no camps, there's no wave that is close to the turret, so it doesn't matter. And the rest of the team is going mid lane. I'm really trying to think why Snoop Dogg opted into that, because there's nothing that really justifies it. And that alone means the fight, because everyone else is kind of in a bad spot after that. They try to answer, but because there's a disadvantage already, they are in way too bad positions. Look at the Veigar, for example, in that fight. He's inside of the pit, trying to collapse on them, answer to them. Not really sure what his plan was. Maybe flank them without them noticing, but that just means that he dies after as well. Really, really questionable decision making in that instance for CBI, because it's not only the fight that they lost and the dragon, they lose the Baron. So I'm not sure how much minus it was the play, but it's minus 5,000 at least, or something like that. Maybe it's too much. Minus 4,000. I think it's enough.
I am really perplexed as to what has happened between the Game 1 CBI and the Game 2 CBI. Is it just because Akuma Blades drafted more early game? Is it because they drafted more bruisers? I don't know, but it feels like CBI is playing on a completely different wavelength, and it's not a good wavelength here in Game 2.
I think a lot of it has to do, or at least some part of it has to do with the mid lane, because mid lane has not been as dominant as in the previous game. Having that control over the mid lane, which translates into having a lot of control over the side lane movement, it is quite important. And I think that that's been an important difference from the previous game.
Indigo going to be caught in the event horizon. That's not going to be enough damage to be able to come in.
Oh, yeah,
CBI,
Cheryl.
they aren't out of this game, and they will force the cleanse out of Fluke as they hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's a 4v, or it's a 4 play in the mid lane, and Snoop Dogg is going to be forced to flash away after going in for that Resonating Strike.
Yeah, and I understand that we're reaching the point where Lee Sin becomes a kick bot and all that, but I feel like if you're going to go for these kind of things, you really have to make it work out. Gold James gives absolutely nothing in that. He's just going for the fight and that's it.
All right, Fluke is gonna get hit by the hostile takeover. The Call of the Forge guy is gonna come through. It is gonna go through the Crescent Guard, and it's gonna be a lot of damage on to Vitalize, and Vitalize will fall, but at what cost?
Josu,
wait. Able to put in a lot of damage. It's gonna be 2 kills. That's gonna be 2 kills for Fluke, and a Josu is gonna try to clean it up. A Josu needs to clean it up, but Fluke is still alive. Is going to go golden. Meanwhile, look at the base. Look at the base as Fluke is able to pick up 3 kills. Lego James is still in a decent health bar and will walk away. That is 2 towers and an inhibitor for this one. Lego James is going to get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but he does not care. Going to get slowed by the volley, but will still walk away.
Yeah, really unlucky that they don't get the kill into Lego James, because that could open up at least pushing some instances. But from CBI, I think that this is what they need to do. Sometimes it gets memed on that leaving the side lane through to open up to get the base open, it's bad. But in reality, if they don't force the fight there, they are going to lose much more. So the commitment was an obligation. They go for the commitment, and they get 4 kills back, which I think kind of a good translation into what they lost in value, because they still would lose it anyway. Like, they would have lost something pretty equal anyway if they don't go for the fight.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless of that, it's still a 4 for 3. Fluke ends that with a triple kill. Was 2 and 1 at the beginning of that one, and now 5, 2, and 7. Was able to clean up Snoop Dogg at the end of that play, but drops the Chaos Storm and gets a double kill with it. It another one of those miscoordinating plays, and now CBI is not in a position. Ratchet is now going forward. This game is just insane, but Ratchet is trying to survive, gets hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. That was almost really, really good, but that is multiple ultimates that are not going to now be available for both teams. Baron was started, but not completed. A beautiful Ice Pillar coming in from Lego James,
now
but it's still a 4v5. Lego James does have teleport. He knows what he can do. He is trying to go in for the sneaky play, but this tower and this Baron is going down so fast. Vitalize is going to try to come in.
He got it. No, that's it. That's game. Yeah, game over. GG.
Are going to be able to try to take this to a game 3 as Snoop Dogg does go down. Going to be able to get the knockup and is trying to be able to get anything that they can out of this one. But a Soju and Tassimony, they have not been able to get back to base, and it is a beautiful play from Lego James. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. What a series between Akuma Blades and CB Infusion.
Yeah. It's something that I wasn't expecting. After the first game, I was pretty sure CBI should have been able to close out some things in this game, but a lot, and I mean a lot, of questionable decisions coming into this game. Still, for AKM, they responded, I think, better compared to what we have in the previous game. I think has to do thanks to the fact that they were able to have a much better matchup in a lot of these lanes compared to the previous game, and they turned that into a lot of value in game. And I feel like that's one of the biggest difference. The fact that with their jungler, they did utilize advantage in lanes to make advantage in games. Now, CBI, I think, with the biggest blunder of the series with that Baron usage, because it was completely abysmal. And I think that was the turning point of the game. If they actually use the Baron, I feel like they can just get the lead back into a spot where they can play. And even if the Trundle is still on the sideline, they can force fights a little bit better or much more consistently, because Veigar would have had more gold, Ashe would have had more gold, the value out of the Renata would have been a little bit higher, and then Ornn items would have come into play as well.
Yeah, I mean, we got to highlight it again. Snoop Dogg going into that brush, and then the rest of CBI just staying in the river there. Just complete collapse from CBI out of game two. And Akuma Blades, they did a couple of things differently here in this game that I think gave them the win. One, they drafted an early game jungler that was able to get so much value. Crescent Guard got so much value for Akuma Blades. It actually didn't block. It didn't block the hostile takeover. It didn't block
Yeah, it doesn't.
like the Call of the Forge God, but that wasn't the reason. It was the fact that in order to damage Xin Zhao, Wellies, and Crescent Guard, you have to be inside that zone. And four members of CBI don't want to get into Xin Zhao's face. So
Yeah.
such a smart decision from Akuna Blades, and really a great play from Vitalize to bring it in. And that's one of the reasons. The second reason, Legoat James. A phenomenal performance. I don't know who came up with the idea, but they recognized that Mario's playing as this Ornn doesn't play for the lane, tries to play for that team fight. And so you have Legoat that was able to just split push to his heart's content, and it was enough to get multiple towers down, and eventually the reason why they won the game. Part of the reason why they won the game.
Yeah, really important that he was able to get so many turrets down because of what was happening in team fights that were going much more in favor of CBI, and that's why at the end the Trundle pick ended up being beneficial. There was a lot of factors that I think make the Trundle pick better than I think in reality could have been, but at the same time you do need to get to utilize the pick to its potential. And I think that was something that Lego James was doing quite well because he didn't opt into dumb fights for some reason instead of actually keep on utilizing his advantage on the sideline to try and get that advantage. And I feel like that was a really good decision by him. And that's why at the end, they had so much control in the sideline.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, with that being said, Akuma Blades has kept their chances of a playoff berth alive, especially with Gig 7 Mirage looking to potentially take the 2-0 against Ragnarok Esports Thor. We're going to take it to a quick break to get into one of the most important matches of the VTS so far, Game 3 between Akuma Blades and CB Infusion. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to the Victoris Triumph series. We are currently in the series between CB Infusion and Akuma Blades, and we are in the very last game. The final game to decide it all. This one right here is for all the beans in the can, and all these players have got to be feeling the pressure right now. Because
Yeah.
it is on. The pressure is very on. And looking at that last game, it definitely swung really hard back in Akuma Blade's favor because they just played the map so well. Especially their top laner on the Trundle performing, doing their job, doing everything they needed to do. Just right click the turrets. What are they going to do? Stop you? What champion is going to stop you when you're that far, when you're that big on Trundle? Actually nothing. So, yeah, it's interesting choice, interesting gameplay. Interesting's the wrong word. That's sort of derogatory. Good gameplay from Akuma Blades to tie up the series here. But as we get into the last game, I have to know, what do you think, and you sort of talked about it during the post game, but what do you sort of think fell apart with CBI's draft? Because like on paper it looked pretty good to me, but what did they not account for that Akuma Blades is able to exploit?
Mm, to me, there were two clear things. Well, thinking back on it, there were two things that jump onto me when I was thinking about it, and one of them was the way that the early game progressed, because I feel like they forced too many things in mid lane. One worked, the other one didn't, and that opened up the mid lane matchup because it allowed for Victor to begin having much more control. I think that it was actually pretty equal at the start, but Victor began having way more control, especially after the gank onto the Victor after level 6 failed, which opened up as well, I think, another play for the Trundle. Trundle got a really important advantage from that as well. And then kind of everything began messing up from the side of CBI. And then the second and crucial thing to me is the way that they played the game. Because we were talking about how meaningful the Xin Zhao and the Crescent Guard were being to deny a lot of the damage from the side of CBI and what they wanted to achieve. And I think a lot of that is also on CBI's mistake, because they were trying to run head to head to the composition, but they had disengage tools. Their composition uses disengage to then re-engage. That's the value, because as long as the Crescent Guard is down, Xin Zhao becomes a sitting duck. And I feel like that was a lot of the misplayed that ended up carrying into a lot of the fights.
Okay. I would agree with that. Moose, what have you got? What are you thinking?
Just CBI just completely collapsing is really just what I have to say here. Like, I don't really think that there's really anything else for me to touch on in terms of what the CBI did in game 2 or what Akuma Blades did correctly, but I do want to reiterate how important this match is for Akuma Blades and for them to be able to take this win. You have the opportunity, if you do make it into the playoffs, to potentially jump all the way to 3rd seed with a victory here, which means that if you are able to take this win, you have the chance to dodge Virtue Gaming Ambition in the first round. So if they somehow are able to win this one and get the Akuma Blade Miracle run going, I'm all for it. So I can't wait to get started.
Okay, the Akuma Blade Miracle Run, bringing it back after a very unfortunate performance in Game 1, showcasing incredible macro play in Game 2, and now might be ready to come in and break down CB Infusion to secure that last spot. But both these teams, they're going to be trying something. They're going to be praying. They're going to be looking to do what they can. And we're going to see what they will do in this last match. I'm throwing it over to Draft. Take it away. We're going to see what they can do. Good luck.
Thank you, Becky, Rita. They are just so phenomenal every single time. And great season. Just a great season so far. I thought we were getting into the
Are we
draft.
throwing over to the draft?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Hey, let's go. All right, guys. All right, folks. Importance of this game can't be highlighted anymore. We can't talk about, how important this game 3 is for Akuma Blades. Potentially an opportunity to get into 3rd seed and, more importantly, dodge Virtue Gaming Ambition in the playoffs, at least in round 1. Could be the difference maker in how this entire conclusion of this tournament plays out. Akuma Blades,
Yep.
they still get their full 3 bans. CB and Fusion losing their 2. They deny the Lucian from Indigo for the first time in this series. And Vitalize, who I think is going to be playing in Game 3, is going to get the B1 Viego.
Which was banned in the previous 2 games as well. So taking away from it, now it's the Hecarim that gets picked here. And I like that we're seeing the Hecarim come up because he has been forgotten. But forgotten doesn't mean that he's not good. He can actually be played. He finds value. It's just picking around him. And I think the Hecarim may find quite a bit of value here. I hope that with this series, it means that we're going to have the Seri Yumi Hecarim combo. Because I feel like that is a lot of damage and untapped potential.
Yeah, and you might be getting that still. We do have the Zeri getting locked in. Yumi can perform pretty well with Zeri if you do decide you wanted to go for that, but Akuma Blades not deterred. The Seraphine is hovered. It's so tough when you want to pick Seraphine in the first 3 picks, because if you don't, it could potentially get banned out, and they decide to go for it here, B1. It is a very risky B2 pick.
Yeah, and especially because that also opens up for almost all the things that you don't want to really play against it to be picked here. With the pick from the Nautilus here, though, it may be now flexed into mid lane or AD carry, with the Nautilus being the support, obviously. But I think that the Seraphine here, quite interesting. We saw how Sigafai played it, and I feel like the champion can find a lot of value, can be really good, and allowing for the Viego to carry maybe the thing that AKM tries to look forward to with this Seraphine pick. Now, I hope from CBI that they go for the Yumi combo, because I feel like for what Seraphine wants to do would have been better, but all in all, the Braum to block the ultimate, I think that's pretty much the deal. To block the Seraphine ultimate, that's it.
Exactly. You've got the Glacial Fissure as well to kind of disrupt any sort of team fight play that Akuma Blades has already drafted, trying to go for. You look at the objectives for these champions. You want to be able to get the nice multi-man encore from the Seraphine, get the nice knockup from the Nautilus, so that the Viego can go in with those resets and execute when and where as needed. CB Infusion, worried about potentially the dive that Akuma Blades can go for, wanting to take away that Kaisa, but there are still a plethora of Feast or Famine champions that Akuma Blades can go for Indigo, as well as a Dr. Mundo, but the top lane is going to get banned out. Akuma Blades, I think wisely, banning out that Darius as well as the Jax.
Yeah, and the Mundo was in the first game. I think that find a lot of value actually, because we saw how it pressured onto the Urn, and I'm not against the Mundo being part of this kind of competition, especially with the healing of the Seraphine as well. But I like the ban here. Now, for CB, we could end up seeing the Urn once again. I'm actually wouldn't be against the Camille coming here for a blind pick as a top lane, but instead giving the counter pick for top lane. I really like it, because I think that Victor has been a really good overall pick, not really getting countered in both games. So I feel like overall can find a lot of value, and instead give that power pick to the top lane.
And this is what you sacrifice when you give up the Seraphine, or when you take the Seraphine here, is, Fluke and Tassimony both have had great games on the Victor in their respective games. And now Victor is going to be available once again for Tassimony to potentially have another one of those pop-off games here. This time it won't be a Talia or anything like that you have to worry about. It's probably not going to be a Silas, as the Graves does get locked in. It still could potentially be the Silas here for Akuma Blades, but I don't know if I agree with that decision at this point in the draft. So Akuma Blades does have a big decision.
I think we may get something like a list, Saya for the safety with the ultimate makes sense with just running into your face that the Hecarim will bring here. But that means as well that I think the Graves will be top lane. I don't expect to see the the Diego coming into the top lane, and that means that it's going to be Pantheon coming in. Now, Pantheon solo lane, I haven't seen him in a while. I think that he can find spots that can be quite good. Could it still be a flex because Hecarim was a top laner in quite a long time. He was a top laner, so could be the case here. But I think it's going to be Pantheon against the Graves.
The Xayah pick is fine. I think the Xayah pick is okay. You pair it up with the Nautilus, it's okay. You do have the Featherstorm to be able to get away from a lot of the damage that CB Infusion is looking for. I just don't feel like it's the most synergistic with the rest of Akuma Blade's composition, which is maybe a little bit of a sad situation. If you are able, the big wombo combo that I'm seeing is the Encore into the Featherstorm, into the Blade Caller to get the big massive root and the massive damage that can come with it, and then Indigo can come in and just pop the Snoop, or pop a Soju, could pop even, you know, Mario's Antasimony, especially if you are able to land that multi-man Encore and then land that Featherstorm. So the possibilities are there for Akuma Blades, but it all boils down to execution, and I don't know if this composition is easily executable.
I feel like they are bound to be playing with a sort of lead, in the sense that I don't mean that they need to snowball or anything like that, but I do think that they need to have map control, particularly with this kind of comp, because they thrive with vision, with having control over vision, with knowing the position of the members from CBI. If they don't have that vision control, walking blindly, it's something that they can simply do, because there's way too much CC on the side of CBI, and one good ultimate, one good stun onto Indigo on the Saya cannot even allow her for even use the ultimate. So you're banking a lot on that kind of play, where if you don't have control over the map, you really have to consider giving up things, and that's not something that you really want to do, especially with a champion like Diego that wants to fight, because he wants to get those passive resets.
I have to say as well, for CB Infusion, I think that it was such a heads-up play to pick Braum here when you knew the Nautilus was getting locked in, because not only does it work out well with your composition, but you now also deny potentially the level 1 invade from Akuma Blades because of how powerful concussive blows can be. Ratchet can come in with, you know, we've seen it so many times now where you go in the flash, the dredge line, and you try to go for flash. Signify is now going to be able to deny that, but this is going to be the first time that Signify is playing a tank-oriented support, not going to be playing those enchanters like the Seraphine and the Renata in games 1 and 2, so I'm curious to see how that difference is going to be played out here for both of these supports.
Yep, I'm kind of thinking if there's going to be a huge difference. I think though that Braum can be kind of managed as the Renata, not necessarily the sense that Renata is tanky or anything like that, but you can play it as a protect your AD carry playstyle in the same sense, and your ultimate is much more disengage based than engage based. So I think that at least is similar to what we saw previously with the Renata. And then, like you were pointing out, I feel like one thing that we are going to see much more this game, or at least that I would like to see from Signify, is the roaming. Because one concussive blow with a champion like the Hecarim or like the Pantheon can really turn out into a kill. So I want to see him moving around, see that he can really provide help to the rest of the map, and see his disengages in fight, or the way that he plays team fights, because that's also how you really want to make the most out of the Braum.
Fair enough. I mean, we've got ourselves our last streamed match of the regular season TDS. It's going to be a blast for sure. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, the beginning of Game 3 will commence. A very important matchup for both of these teams. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to the VTS. And I can't, again, highlight how important this match is. The most important match of the VTS so far is about to commence. Akuma Blades is looking to win this match and take the 4th seed, potentially the 3rd seed of Group B in the playoffs, and we're already getting into it. What a massive route from Fluke to be able to keep things alive, but it's Ratchet that ends up using a flash.
We talked about the level 1, but on the other side, we were expecting the Nautilus to walk in, not to get walked into. And get blowing the flash from the Nautilus really good, because this also means that in a level 2 advantage for CBI, they can try and threaten a kill in the bot lane. So already really great start for CBI.
And so, you know, for Akuma Blades, their fate is in their hands. Ragnarok Esports Thor was not able to win their series against Gang 7 Mirage. They lose that series 2-0. Gang 7 has solidified the 2nd seed of Group B.
Congrats.
And Akuma Blades now has the opportunity to take the series away from CBI and secure potentially a 3rd seed in Group B, dodging Virtue Gaming Ambition in the process. If they do not win, they have the same set score as Ragnarok Esports Thor. Ragnarok Esports Thor wins the match against Akuma Blades 2-0.
Oh.
So, you know, the stakes for this game couldn't be higher.
Yeah, it's all or nothing, essentially.
All or nothing for sure. Go ahead.
I was going to say, which for us, it's great. For us, it just sets up for a great game potential here.
Yeah, you know, we haven't talked, I was talking about that earlier. We don't very rarely get the opportunity to get something like this coming through. Ratchet's going to get hit by the concussive blows. Look, go James, going to be in trouble. And it's first blood for CB Infusion as Mario's drops the spear.
Great first blood from Marios. He did take the ignite to just threaten onto the Graves, and I really like the aggressiveness that we saw there. Great first blood, and already setting up for the Pantheon in the top lane. Yes, he's going to be a little bit behind now because of the teleport, not necessarily because he doesn't get a chance to run away or anything like that, but any mistake like this here, he doesn't have flash, can mean that.
Okay, Spectrum Maw is going to land, and Marios is going to be in trouble. That's going to be Legoat James taking the 300 back.
Yeah, and the problem is not the kills necessarily. Like, I think the kill is just an added bonus extra. Oh,
okay. Oh, Ratchet barely missing that dredge line.
Yeah, and I was going to say with the top lane, the problem is not the kill, realistically. The kill is just a glorified gold value. The real problem here is the wave. The wave completely crashed into the turret. It was a huge wave with a cannon. So that was a lot of value that the Pantheon is losing there from both experience and gold. And that was the difference that he was able to get with the first blood. Now it gets completely nullified, and the teleport here then becomes a real issue once again. Oh.
Okay, Sigify gonna flash forward, and it's gonna result in a dredge line landing. Yep. Indigo is gonna be able to put in a ton of damage against the Soju there. Nice root and combo. I don't know what Sigify was thinking.
Was that ever going to work out? I'm kind of trying to think if that was ever like an actual play, and in reality, no, it's not.
Not at all. You knew that that Snoop Dogg was topside. There was no way that there was going to be anything come through. Worst case scenario, Vitalize finds a way bottom side, and now you're in a really bad position. And most importantly, Sigify uses Flash there, and that means that you're not going to have that available for a potential gank.
Like, that Flash alone completely destroyed their lane. Because the lane is in an awful spot, like you can see over there in the bot lane. It's completely awful. They cannot try and go farther forward because, like you were pointing out, Vitalize can come down bot lane and it's an easy kill to get. And they don't have the means to easily push either. Like, they cannot just stand in front and hope that they are not going to get collapsed. This is the worst spot that it could have been, and it's all thanks to a flash that it's completely meaningless.
Dragon is now spawned, though. Cloud Drake is going to be available.
Hey, we get a good soul. Nice.
Yeah, no Cloud Soul, right? Still have the opportunity to go for a Hextech Soul, which I think is the funnest of the group.
Agreed.
But we're going to see a multi-man collapse onto the Dragon. CB Infusion has been red side all game, and they've been able to get the first Dragon every single time. But another great route from Fluke is going to land a ton onto that one. Ratchet's going to try to go in, is going to be able to flash away, does not get hit with the rest of that concussive blows. And Indigo's going to be able to come forward. That's going to be 1 kill, 2 kills for Fluke. And Vitalize is able to pick up the Hecarim skin, and is now going to go back over to Drake.
4-man stun into then Ratchet following up. It felt like it could have been an awful situation for AKM because the dragon was getting collapsed and all that. And CBI it's awful. I mean, felt like it could be an awful situation for CBI. And it turned into an even worse situation that I thought was going to happen. So great play by AKM, getting the advantage already. Sadly, I think a little bit the only kind of sad part for them is that none of the kills went into Vitalize or Indigo. But you get the value, you get the kills and the dragon. So you're really happy if you're AKM here.
Oh, I don't think Akuma Blades is too worried about that because you do. Look, James is gonna die. Yeah, you do get the double kill onto Fluke, who can just build APC now. Like you can just build an APC Seraphine, and Leandries will just be terrifying, right? So I'm very excited to see how that's going to be played out. But we were talking, or Sigify did warn us in chat. This is a pick that Marios does play. It is a comfort pick for CB Infusion, and Go James is getting the brunt force of that as another kill gets taken against him.
Okay, oh my bad. Thank God. Something happened, but it's not as bad as Ratchet missing the hook.
Is everything okay? Are we?
Yeah. It's a random thing that happened. It's fine. Third world country tends to happen. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, we're back on track. Taking a look at things here, it is 1,000 gold advantage for Akuma Blades. If we look at the individual gold, I do believe that we do have a slight gold lead for Fluke in the amount of 800 gold, which is pretty strong at 8 minutes in. First dragon taken as well for Akuma Blades, and it is going to be that Infernal dragon, so have the opportunity for either an Ocean Hextech or Mountain Soul, so going to be a really strong start for Akuma Blades, and since they have drafted more early game, they have played extremely well.
Yeah, like they have utilized that aggressive potential, that attempt to try and control some of the things really well. Can work out, can not work out sometimes, but I like that they are not shying away from opting into things. And I think that's a clear indication of that I can realize this. I do think, though, that for the side of CBI, and I wanted to comment on this, but I kind of messed on the timing, but banking on Marius to carry you right now feels a little bit worrisome. Because Pantheon, as far as it can go, he may have the lead, but he can just completely fumble it because of the nature of the champion. So it's kind of worrisome if that's what CBI needs to depend on in this point of the game.
Vitalize cleared out the wards in the top lane, is now back to potentially go in for a gank and a play here. Blue buff is up, but he's not really missing any other jungle camps other than that blue. And now they are on the way to try to be able to finish this gank. Marios does have flash and will use it to get away, but the Heartbreaker is going to land. Oh, very close.
It's not up, right?
Had the collateral damage been used, it might have been a different story.
It just came up.
Live's going to come in. 1 second remaining on it. And it's Go James that is going to try to go in with the collateral damage. It's going to be the Encore going to come through. It's Fluke trying to clean it up. Fluke wants a kill, but Fluke cannot get any single kill. CB Infusion somehow able to clean it up, but
Marios!
Fluke able to land the damage, the alley-oop on to Marios to at least make this a 2-for-1, but Fluke is going to be forced to flash away. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the rift, Ratchet able to use a depth charge, going to get a lot of damage onto Asoju and Sigify, but they are not in a position to potentially dive this yet. They might actually go for it. Level 5 from Sigify. They're not going to try to go for it just yet. Fluke, though, is going to be in trouble. Fluke is going to survive. Vitalize is on the way. Okay, we're just going to continue to get play after play. That's going to be Tassimony forcing the flash out of Vitalize, but that is going to be the victor going down. PDS
Oh, wait,
pausing
the
for
gold trade.
dramatic effect as Ratchet and Indigo are now going to potentially be in trouble. Feathers will fly to be able to get away. Oh my god! Indigo putting in a ton of damage, but it's not going to be enough. Soju will take that kill.
Yeah, just as I'm trying to not blank completely, every kill happens all around the map. We see fight top lane, we see fight bot lane, working out for CBI to a certain degree, but AKM is not getting left behind. They are collecting some kills, which are really, really important. Oh,
Okay.
Marios.
Yeah, a lot of
This
damage
should be
on the
fine.
Marios. No flash, though. And you are going to get rooted. So Legoat James is going to try to put in a little bit of damage there, but no. Should be fine.
Yeah, not much accomplished there, but a little bit of a stoppage to what we had previously. Oh, testimony. Should still be
Okay.
fine.
Gonna be down to
Marius
half
is coming
HP. Yeah, Marius is coming back. We are not stopping this onslaught of kills. Finally gonna walk forward. Dragon is now up.
Yeah, and I think it's prime position for AKM to get this dragon, especially because Marius, they see that he's coming back to top lane, so he cannot respond to the play because there's no ulti. This fight here, I'm not fully aware why Marius decided that it was smart to try and commit, especially without vision, but this play from Snoop Dogg really nice to get the full damage, and then just barely enough Marius getting the damage to get the kill. And then there's questionable things happening, particularly what we will see here from Marius. Not Snoop Dogg dying, which I think it's good for, or not actually dying, but here, Marius. I know what he wanted to do. He wanted to use the ulti, but he could have used it before. Like, if he uses it previously, close to the turret, they can get that kill without nothing happening.
Okay, so as we take a look at the rest of the match, Rift Herald is going to try to get taken here by Akuma Blade. It's going to be down to about 1,000, and they will be able to take that Rift Herald. I didn't get to see confirmation on who took that last dragon.
I think it was AKM.
Was it AKM?
It's not on the screen, right? Yeah, it's not on the screen, but I think it was AKM. Oh, the flashing.
Okay, Dredgeline and Depth Charge going to last onto
Simone,
Tassimony,
he's
who's going to
dead.
fall. Chaos Storm will not be enough to drop down Ratchet, though. So it ends up just being a 1-for-0, and the Rift Arrow gets taken, going to drop it immediately, and Indigo is going to continue to get gold.
Yeah, the prime beneficiator from this Rip Herald. I like that they are giving it to Indigo, because Indigo is going to be a part of your late game damage. Like, Fluke, yes, he's building much more Battle Mage, but you're realistically having a Seraphine that will try and heal you much more so than dealing damage. So giving the damage to Indigo, I think, really good idea, and also allows for Indigo to play much more self-sufficiently, because now the rest can kind of commit, and Indigo will have enough damage and gold into himself to not have to depend on others.
Now, about 1,000 gold lead once again for Akuma Blades. Fluke 3-0-0 does have a probably a bit of gold in the bank to be able to pick up that Leandries, but is just kind of hanging out here, waiting to see what's going on next. Also, more importantly, I would say in terms of that is that Indigo's Cull is about to be completed. Only 8 stacks remaining on that, and that is enough gold with the turret plates that they were able to get to give Indigo that Gale Force.
Yeah, quite a bit of difference between him right now and Ajosu, unless Ajosu gets the full-on shield bow here with the back, but it still has the call yet to be completed, so it's going to be much more damage to Indigo as soon as he backs compared to Ajosu, unless Ajosu gets another kill or something like that. But I feel like the damage distribution or the gold distribution quite good from both sides, because both the carries are the ones that are getting the gold.
Yeah, and speaking of carry potential, Marios is going to be playing to assassinate the backline and going in for that Dustblade of Drakkar to go invisible, going in for that lethality, and just kind of, watch as health bars go from 100 to 0 almost instantaneously with a full combo. Cole will finally now get completed for Indigo. That's going to be an extra 300 gold in their pocket. Legoat James is going to be in trouble, going to try to get away.
Ooh.
Nice use of the flash. And now we got Vitalize on the way to potentially make this a 2v2. Maybe going to try to land the Spectral Maw. Going to be able to get a little bit of damage there with Fluke and Ratchet on the way. It's going to be the Onslaught of Shadows. Going to be able to get a
They
little
got
bit of damage
baited.
on the Go Chains, but it's going to be the slow landing onto Snoop Dogg. Going to be able to get the charm onto Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg will die. Vitalize will be able to take the Hecarim skin, and Talsamudi going to be put into a very terrible teleport position.
No.
It is
Vitalize
disaster
wins this
for
100%.
CB Infusion, as Ratchet is also able to land the Dredge line onto Sega 5. Vitalize is still alive.
He's not
Vitalize
going to die.
survives, and it's 4-0 in favor of Akuma Blades.
CBI were doing so good in that fight until they didn't. They committed for a fight without watching the minimap. Like, look at the minimap, please. There's 2 members that are coming from you. Yes, you have the teleport coming. Yes, but you don't know anyone else. You don't see the map. You don't see any member from AKM. They get collapsed. They get punished. Great play by AKM. And this is what I was talking. What we were talking about with the Piego. He thrives in fights. If he gets one reset, fight's over. Because he just gets so much value from reset to reset to reset. And he could have died 3 times in that fight. That didn't die at all because of all those resets.
Incredible performances from AKM. They are playing like a team that is fighting for their tournament lives right now.
Wants to go on. Yeah.
5-0-2 on the Seraphine. Almost going to be able to pick up that Demonic Embrace with Vitalize. I was just
He gets a little bit of his own medicine with that play. Walking into 5-man, obviously didn't know was using the lens to try and reveal some of the members, but that's why you never can be so sure, because you have no vision.
I'm not going to say anything nice anymore about either one of these teams, as we do get the Grand Starfall going to be used from Mario's. Going to be able to get the stun onto Indigo, but Indigo is fine. And now Mario's is caught out of position here. Gonna maybe be in trouble as the rest of CBI is gonna potentially be on the way. Ratchet wants to commit for that kill, and Ratchet will flash forward. Gonna force the flash out of Mario's, and he's gonna die. A valiant effort. Valiant effort, but no. Mario survives that play.
I'm pretty sure that Ratchet gets that kill with Ignite, obviously, so it's really unlucky that he didn't have it for that. But I think Mario's going way too far forward for that play, no? Like, he ultimated into bot lane, didn't really get much. Like, he didn't even blow any summoner from the Saya. We see this play here, Vitalize trying to get onto the bush, trying to sniff out some vision, but there's no vision. Like, you can see it in the minimap here. No vision to know where anyone is. Great vision control from the side of CBI, and they get that pick off so effectively.
Phenomenal timing as well. I would say, really, really great timing. Immediately when Vitalize shows they're able to execute their plan, there was a split second, just a split second, where Vitalize could have potentially flashed away and gone back, but really excellent timing coming in from Narios to be able to land that stun and being able to start that combo into Vitalize. Big shutdown there against him, as we do get potentially another death brush. It's going to be 2 members of CBI that are going to be caught out, and 4 members of Akuma Blades. It's going to be a great use of the Unbreakable, but it doesn't matter. The damage is coming in, and Vitalize is going to be able to get Marios to go down. That's 1 kill for Akuma Blades. Snoop Dogg trying to use the Ghost and trying to be able to pick up 1 themselves, but is, I think, bamboozled. I don't know what Snoop Dogg was doing on that side of the rib. Maybe just trying to be able to get away, but will eventually die. Okay. The Gale Force will be enough for Indigo to be able to pick up that kill, and that's going to be 2 down for Akuma Blade, or for CBI, and they pick up Rift Herald.
Okay, I'm back.
It's you're pausing for dramatic effect. That's what's going on.
My suffering is going on. I think I'm back this time, but I'm about to cry, so it's okay.
I don't think that you're the only one that's about to cry here. I think that CBI is bawling their eyes out. This game, once again, for CB Infusion, these last 2 games, they've been overcommitting to plays that they can't go. They're writing checks that they cannot cash, and Akuma Blades is catching them every single time.
Yeah, I feel like we should talk about the positive side of things because crying is not always good. And talking about AKM, certainly a really huge improvement from the first game to these two games. I think that really like the ball that is thrown from CBI in decision making has been taken by AKM. Why really? Really? Okay, I'm not gonna talk about that, but the ball that was thrown by CBI really effectively done by AKM. This is a great Baron call. AKM is power. He should
Hecarim
get
is on the way. I don't know who's going to get into the trans. Starfall does get started. Baron is still leashed and does have very low HP. Onslaught of Shadows going to be used. Massive Onslaught of Shadows as Fluke will die. Disaster for Akuma Blades as Indigo is able to pick up one. Fluke is going to be able to pick up another. It's Vitalize, though, that is still alive. Look how James and Vitalize are still alive, and they clean up this fight. Despite a great Onslaught of Shadows from Snoop Dogg, it's Vitalize that cleans up the game.
Yeah, the Viego is just so massive in so many instances. Like, he can find an avenue to win a fight when you really don't expect to do it. And I think from CBI, that was a really good opportunity. Like, it should have worked out. But because of the great response from AKM, it didn't at the end. They get completely collapsed, they get answered. Luckily for CBI, they don't lose the Baron. But this is just becoming harder and harder on them because the gold lead, the gold value that is on AKM feels like it's becoming harder and harder to go over.
Really, really tough position for CB Infusion right now. 6-1-6 on Fluke. First death out of that play. Soju was able to survive, still 402, 200 gold bounty. Baron is still on the table, as so is Dragon. That's spawning in 10 seconds as the Rift Herald is going to be spawned in the mid lane, maybe looking to be able to get a tower out of their exchange. Soju is going to be caught out of position, does have to walk around, but will not get punished for it.
Oh no, the Herald.
As the Herald will take a little bit of time before it gets to the mid lane tower. Akuma Blades is trying to waste as much time as possible. They've got healing from Fluke. They've got the initiation that doesn't land testimony. That is big, and CB Infusion cannot capitalize upon it just yet. But that is no flash, and that is no depth charge available for Ratchet now as the fight and the play continues. Ratchet once again is not able to land on his testimony as they are able to get a little bit of damage on the Signify and Mario's. Dragon will indeed, though, get started as the Rift Herald does get to the tower, and they will finally find the play onto Signify. The Grand Storm looking to come through, though. Asoju's going to be able to take down Ratchet. That's going to be a kill for Mario. It's going to be a kill for Asoju. It's going to be a kill for Snoop Dogg. Vitalize is still alive. Vitalize will fall, and Indigo is all alone in a 4v1 play. Going to drop the cleanse as the rest of CB Infusion drop down the Dragon. Indigo will walk away, and it's a 4-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and now they are going for the Baron. They are moving for the Baron here. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Indigo
wants to play is going to force the flash out of Mario's, but now that is four very weak members of CB Infusion. They cannot go for Baron.
Yeah, like that bought enough time so that with X-Fluke coming up in 8 seconds, maybe there's simply no chance because of the health bars. Still, for CBI, that is a huge fight to win. It's not only the Dragon, it's not only the fight that they are able to win, it's the fact that they are able to recover a lot of the gold deficit. Now it's only 2k. We're clearly seeing that their late game team fight seems to be a little bit better than that of AKM. And the War of Attrition, I think, was a clear point to notice in that fight how effective CBI was making of that War of Attrition. The Victor getting a lot of poke, the Pantheon doing a lot with those Qs, and then the Seri as well.
100%. I mean, just a back and forth battle. And from the point of contention there, CB Infusion knew that if Signify was the one that got targeted by the dredge line, that they could initiate upon that. And Signify said, I don't care. I'll get hit by the dredge line, and then had a phenomenal Unbreakable to be able to utilize the barrier, deny a lot of the damage that Indigo and Fluke could potentially go for, and it ends up resulting in a really pivotal moment in this game. CB and Fusion are able to get it back to within 2,000. Soju is now commanding the gold charts, over 1,000 gold above Lego, James, and Fluke, but this game is far from over.
Yeah. Like, there's still a lot of instances for AKM to really turn around. Like, we've seen them winning fights effectively. So it's not like they cannot set themselves up to try and win fights. Oh, with a dive here, for example.
Yeah, Tassimoni's going to be the target here, going to be putting in a lot of damage, and Vitalize will be able to pick up that kill, but it's actually going to be a 1-for-1 as Go James will fall. Vitalize is going to drop the gravity well, and Ratchet out of position. Vitalize is going to try to get away using the Heartbreaker to be able to stop the fear from Onslaught of Shadows, but there is no further follow-up from that. Vitalize will be left all alone, and Marios will pick up another one. That is a 3-for-1 in favor of CBI.
I like the play idea because it was diving onto the Victor. They can kill it fast.
Yeah, absolutely, TDS. They can kill it pretty fast, but unfortunately, they just took way too many tower shots, and Vitalize was forced to use the flash out of that exchange as well. And then Ratchet, going into that play really, really late, is going to force 3 members of Akuna Blades to fall, and now Baron is on the table. Trying to be able to potentially get Sagify, who's now extremely low. The Lock of the Iron Solar is going to fall, and Fluke is going to be able to pick up 1. The Encore is going to be landing on a Snoop Dogg as the rest of CBI go off of Baron. That is going to be Go James falling to Marios, though, as Indigo and Fluke, they don't have a ton of damage. They don't have a ton of health left. Fluke is going to try to get away. Will flash away. Indigo with a root. Indigo trying to be able to do all the damage he can. And now that's 4 very low members of CB Infusion. Heartbreaker is going to be used. Vitalize is going to try to land it. And Marios will fall. A beautiful dredge line from Ratchet. Oh my god. What a game!
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm suddenly jumping in as caster as TDS is having a little bit of internet issues, but as you said, like, these fights are so close again. It is the same thing. It comes down to Vitalize. If he dies, AKM loses the fight, right? And Ajuso here, he's doing a really good job on this area. I'll just shout that out. He's doing amazing, kiting so well. He's currently deathless as well, which, you know, big shout out to him because these fights are. See here, I'm going to do a play, or I'm going to be color casting while I'm trying to do production here as well. So it's a little bit of a mess. We will be getting a very quick replay here though of that fight. See what actually happened there. So see here though that like Snoop Dogg is going quite ham, and Marius has great positioning there. Takes out Go James really early there, and Snoop Dogg is trying his best to get something going here. And you also here, you see him fence really nice, stays away from turret damage, and right, this entire thing, Retro is not there. He's not there in that fight. But then Vitalize gets his first reset, and that hook lands. It's kind of brutal. It's kind of brutal.
I mean, I would say a very important hook there because you had to go for it and you had to clean up that fight as Baron is going to get started by Akuma Blades. The dragon gets taken from CB Infusion. That's going to be another dragon going into their pockets as the Grand Starfall will drop. Going to be immediately flashed away as Akuma Blades is going to try to pick up the Baron. They do not want to lose it. They need this Baron as the Onslaught of Shadows. Oh my god! It's Snoop Dogg with amazing steal. Once again, CB Infusion are going to be able to stop Akuma Blades at the Baron pit, and that's going to be a double kill for Asoju. Maybe looking to go for more as the rest of Akuma Blades are trying to be able to get away. Let go James. Going to be able to dash as Asoju, Snoop Dogg. They're trying to move forward. They're trying to be able to get what damage they can. Snoop Dogg is going to go way too far forward though, and the Go James is going to be able to clean up Tassimony. So it ends up being 3 for 2, but Baron goes to CBI.
Yeah, wow, amazing. They're being able to pick up the Drake and the Baron. And recognize, there is Drake count question in the chat. I'm sorry, the overlay has stopped working for some reason. I can't really tell you why. There's currently 3 Mountain Drakes. 3 Mountain Drakes for CBI here. And AKM is only sitting on a Cloud and an Infernal. Like,
huge.
They're so darn tanky right now. I was questioning it a little bit behind the scenes before I jumped in as a color caster here, as TDS is unfortunately dropping out a little bit. But Hecarim with Triforce, I was like, ah, yeah, but you're not that tanky. But it's like, suddenly you have 3 Mountain Drakes, and you have 195 armor.
195 armor. I would say that that's attributed to the Death's Dance as well as the oh my god, the winged oh god. The pants, the fast pants.
Oh no, I just bought them.
Yeah, now it's the force of
Now it's
nature.
the force of nature.
Nature. Now I don't have to worry about trying to pick up that name. But regardless, now very tanky Hecarim. You get armor, magic resistance, cooldown reduction, damage. You've got Onslaught of Shadows that's going to be able to put in plays, and now Akuna Blades, their backs, I think arguably are somewhat against the wall here. Asoju 8-0-6 is on 4 items, a total item advantage for him against Indigo, and is going to potentially carry these games unless you are able to pick off the Zeri immediately.
Yeah, for sure. And we're starting to get to the point in the game, right? We're 30 minutes in game, and we're starting to get to the point where gold lead doesn't matter. But it's not like there's any gold lead to not matter, because it's currently sitting at like 1k. It's actually not even that, it's like 600. So we're now starting to get to the point where itemization is going to be really, really important, and it's going to be like, well, it's going to be crucial as to which item you've picked up, right? Now, it is quite an odd build, I would say, from Mario's, because he has Duskblade into Black Cleaver into Death Sense. I'm like a little bit perplexed by that, but you know, he it's his comfort pick. I don't think I've played Pantheon since his rework, so I don't know how to play him anyways. But yeah.
Fair enough. Oh no, Ratchet. Okay. Ratchet is able to survive. Lock of the Iron Solari for both of these supports as the inner tower in the bottom lane does get taken. The bases of both teams are relatively healthy with a 1 tower advantage for Akuma Blades. A minute remaining until the Mountain Drake spawns.
Yeah, and it is not shown. Again, I'm terribly sorry about that. But it is soul point for CBI here. If they get this, they have gotten 4 Mountain Soul or Mountain Drakes in a row, which is, well, quite impressive, I would say. It's not bad. But we can see the vision here. Neither team actually has any vision at all, pretty much. It's only this little Scuttle here that is going to be timing out quite soon here. But they're probably going to be looking for a fight mid lane and see who can take control of the river sooner or later.
Right now it's river control, but it's going to be mid-prio for CB Infusion as the Encore is still going to be available. A massive Onslaught of Shadows from Snoop Dogg is going to be able to highlight a lot of plays there, but another great Encore coming in from Fluke is going to be able to put in a massive amount of damage against CBI. Oh my god! Vitalize is able to come back in with a devastating charge, and that's Tassimony, Snoop Dogg, and Signify dead. Asoju survives, but it's 3 for 1.
Yeah, and now Pantheon... Oh, he's actually ulting top lane to get that wave, but he has to. And now Indigo is going to be soloing this Drake now. It is going to not be Mountain Soul for them. It's going to be Soul Point. But I don't think... I so highly doubt this game will actually go to Elder Drake. Oh my gosh, that tower actually just disappeared. And yeah, Graves here, he has Collector and LDR. We have the discussion which of these 2 items is better. Why not take both? But yeah, I mean, that Seraphine ult, I think it was a 5-man. I'm pretty confident that was a 5-man ult.
It was definitely a 5-man. It was a 4-man Onslaught of Shadows getting beaten out by a 5-man Encore from Fluke. I mean, so good as we get to take a look at this replay again, because, I mean, really, it looks like Akuma Blades got what they wanted.
Yeah, look at this Hecarim ult, right? Going in, absolutely massive, but then they're in a straight line.
Beautiful.
They're just straight up in a straight line.
Absolutely beautiful. Play, one of the best plays that we have seen in the VTS so far, and it's X-Fluke that's able to land the multi-man Encore that resulted in potentially a series-saving moment. Baron is now down to about 2,000 HP, and unfortunately, Akuma Blades cannot stop it, but they can potentially go in for a play. Tassimony's going to be able to flash away. The Encore landing onto 3 people once again. Vitalize not able to get any resets, though. Got a ton of rooting and a ton of damage coming in for Akuna Blades, but it's 1 member for nothing, and Baron going to CBI.
My gosh, that Baron quite melted. I don't know. I mean, Vitler is there. It's unfortunate he can't get a reset. I think he just got CC'd so hard because he's so alone, right? That Seraphine and Core, it would have been worse if it wasn't for Braum Shield. It came in quite clutch at the back end there. Because I think if Yosu is... if he's charmed... Or is... what's it called? It is a charm, right? Seraphine
yeah, it's a charm.
Yeah. But yeah, because I think if he's got charmed there, is not able to dish damage, then Vitalize is not getting stunned, because obviously Seraphine with Braum, it's so powerful, and getting those Braum passive stacks off real quickly. And I think if he doesn't get stunned there, that fight goes very different.
I think so. I think now for Akuma Blades, it is, I feel like it's such a big battle between Fluke and Signify. Who's able to... Are Fluke able to get that Encore, or is Signify able to block it? It's going to be so big. As Vitalize, maybe going to be in trouble. Snoop Dogg's going to be able to get a little bit of damage thanks to that devastating charge, but is going to be just fine. Taosamoni also dealing a lot of damage as well, as that tower, with the added pressure of the Baroned up minions, melts like the butter on an English muffin. As we take looking at Akuma Blades now, they are only about 3,000 gold behind, but they've got to deal with Baron for another minute. Mountain Drake is going to be up in a minute 30, but there is nothing else to do but for CBI to siege up as much as they can.
Yeah, now ultimate's being used, okay.
Yeah, they're going to try to go in onto Tasamoni as the Encore only lands on to 1. As we do get Vitalize trying to go golden, will fall once again. And then it's Snoop Dogg with another great onslaught of shadows. Going to be a great use of the collateral damage from the Go. James going to be able to take down Tasamoni. Snoop Dogg is extremely low. Indigo and Fluke are also extremely low, as a Soju is able to come in. Akuna Blades, they pull the trigger, and they cannot get through the Baroned up members of CB Infusion, but they can still potentially defend the base. Indigo is still alive and can deal a lot of damage. Gonna try to be able to do what they can. Gonna try to be able to take down Marios. Marios is going to die. Snoop Dogg is so...
Just hit the Nexus.
Oh my god.
Just hit the Nexus.
Indigo.
Just hit the Nexus.
Indigo's gonna be able to take down 2 more. Oh my god. A Soju gets it. My voice breaks. It's Akuma Blades that falls, and CB Infusion wins the series. Oh my god. My voice just died like Akuna Blades' chances to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, thanks for me. I'll bring it over to the draft scene where TDS will join you once again. Oh my god, what a game.
Yeah, I'm back. With that, I can see how crazy it was. I'm sad I couldn't be. Thank you, Cal, for covering for me. Honestly, third world internet, wouldn't recommend it to anyone, just saying. But apart from that, what a match. Like, AKM really had their opportunity there. That fight in the river for the dragon, that could have been the soul for CBI. AKM, if that turns into a much better advantage, a much bigger advantage, they could have looked for potentially controlling Baron and getting Baron, or finishing the game. Sadly, it turns into a Baron for CBI for them, and then CBI just runs the game after that. That was a really close game, a really close sequence of goals that could have changed the game. And at the end, we see AKM going for the Hail Mary play to try and get the win. Because in the last fight, if you see, Vitalize going in way too far forward, but if he kills Tasimoni in that fight, which Tasimoni almost dies, that could have looked a little bit different for AKM.
I'm going to let you and Becky talk about this, because like you saw, my voice immediately broke. You guys can talk about this game. I'm just gonna smile and wave.
Okay. All right, yeah. Go ahead. You take a break there, Moose. That was a lot of big gaming action coming in from Akuma Blades and CBI, and of course, CB Infusion will take the win after a hard-fought series coming down to the wire. You can't get a better game than that for a spectator experience, but man, Man, that was such an intense, such a close game. And it's really just hard to necessarily know what I mean, at this point it doesn't matter. At this point it really doesn't matter for yeah, you know what? Let's just get the last fight. Let's look at this and sort of break it down here. So this is the Nexus defense. Uh TDS, do you want to take a look at this?
Yeah, and ideally, it looked a little bit for potential there for Indigo, almost getting completely destroyed. And I think if he had a little bit more health, I feel like he could have been a little bit more aggressive with his
Mhm.
positioning, because this is actually a good thing to highlight. If Indigo clears here, AKM wins because the Seraphine would have respawned as well as the Graves to get it. But Indigo, that health that he lost, I think that if he is much more aggressive, he could have been much into being able to protect the game. And like I'm telling here, Pantheon with that threatening onto the Saya that we saw at the end. If Pantheon doesn't get that much health out of the Saya, I think Indigo can actually clean the game and protect it. It was a
Oh yeah.
really, really, really close call, but it's really
Yeah.
unlucky.
Yeah, Mario's making a heroic sacrifice to secure the game for his team. I was in chat, making fun of his build. It's still terrible, but he
I
played
don't
what
like it yet.
he played it how he needed to, and he piloted the Pantheon in the later stages of the game exactly how you needed to. Just be annoying. You are useless on Pantheon. Just try and do as much damage as you can before you inevitably die. I think that
Well,
that is that he played it well towards the
yeah,
later fights, even though some of those fights were so close that it's like, oh man, I'm sure that the Akuma Blades players are gonna be up at night thinking about this, like, man, what do you do, right? Where do you go? Where do you go from here? What I mean, at this point, the season is over for them. I actually don't know playoffs wise how this shakes out because RST did drop their series
yeah,
to Gang 7 and Akuma Blades dropped their series to CBI. So it now goes down to the head to head between Ragnarok Esports Thor and Akuma Blades. And like we were talking about at the beginning of this week, or the beginning of the week, where am I? No, at the beginning of this broadcast, RST does have the head to head over Akuma Blades. So I believe per tiebreaker rules that Ragnarok Esports Thor will be sneaking into
fourth
playoffs
place. Yeah,
as the final seed. Akuma Blades, their hopes and dreams end here, but they put up a good
sadly for
fight,
them.
and I think turning the series around like they did after that game one is commendable. And I
Yeah,
think that it next split when they show up, assuming they show up again, they're gonna be looking to reclaim a spot in playoffs, and they're gonna be coming back angry. So definitely gotta commend Akuma Blades. They put on a great show today, and sometimes you just barely miss out. But of course, congrats to CB Infusion for locking in that third seed. And congrats to Ragnarok Esports Thor for getting the fourth seed as well. I'm sure they're going to be happy about that result, especially after I believe their
their
series
FF.
ended in
Yeah,
FFs because of client issues or
as
DCs.
always.
So they're struggling too. They're having trouble connecting as well.
Well,
It's
not as much if they are in playoffs, so they are
yeah,
struggling, but not that much.
they're struggling, but they made it. It's like
Yeah,
the gif of the dog limping along, and then it just stands up perfectly fine, right? That's what they are. They're like, we're good. You know what? Sometimes you just lose your
it's
way into
enough.
finals.
Yeah,
It's
it's
called
just enough.
falling. It's called falling upwards. But with
Okay.
that in mind, I don't know if we got any results from the other side of the bracket that would determine the winner
I
there.
think
I'm
we're
gonna
still waiting for Gep.
quickly. Okay, yeah, I believe we are still waiting for Geb. Yeah, I'm scrolling up. I am not seeing Geb's game? Question mark? Yeah, no, we do not have their
Yeah, no.
result. Either an FF or whatever is being planned. So who knows how that will go? But yeah, with that said, I believe this will close out our broadcast for this the regular season, the final week of the regular season of the Victoris Triumph series. Next week we will be back with playoffs matches. One of the quarterfinals matches we will be showcasing here on stream, and of course, depending on if others are scheduled at the default time, we will try and give you updates on those as they
Yeah.
are happening. But before we close out, we didn't do an MVP vote, but it's kind of late for that. So who is the MVP in your hearts, chat? Let just post it. Let you know the MVP. I'm not gonna ask Moose because Moose
His
voice.
heart is
We're gonna let
tired.
Moose's voice rest. If Moose wants to post a comment on who they thought was MVP, I will share that. But TDS, who do you feel was MVP of the series for CB Infusion?
I'm honest. I'm hoping I'm not botching the name, but to me and Josu, I think that he played so consistently in the 3 games. 80 carry wise, he did a lot of damage. Was positioning as best as he could with Ash. With champions like Ash, it's really hard, and I think that he did a lot to try and keep the game winnable for CBI in the second game. So I feel like as the overall carry of the team, I think that he did so good in the 3 games, and I think that he should be the MVP, at least in my heart.
Yeah. I
Are
don't
you
know.
gonna go for the
Moose is
support
saying
bias?
Moose is saying Snoop Donk or Sigify. I feel like the Snoop Donk is a meme. Snoop Donk had a kind of a rough series, especially the second game. Was looking a
The second
little
game was
off base.
harsh.
Performed really well on the Hecarim though. Gotta give him credit. He found some incredible engages and incredible just damage dealt. And disruption coming in from himself in the third game. Very clutch, very important for the team. And getting that, I don't know if it was a steal or if it was just a secure in game 3. I didn't quite catch that because I was doing a nonogram puzzle on my phone, and I had glanced
Okay.
up at the screen too late in the team fight to actually get what was going on. So
You
my
shouldn't
bad.
reveal that you're not paying attention. You shouldn't make it
That's
that obvious.
that's a secret. That's a secret for the cameras behind the scenes that I'm sometimes on my phone. But
Sure.
no, either way, the secure for the Baron was very important for CBI to stay in the game. So definitely commendable for Snoop Dogg. Although the second game, I feel like the second game was bad enough that it sort of disqualifies them for me. But otherwise, I actually can't think of anybody besides
Okay.
Snoop Dogg or the 80 carry who performed incredibly well for the team. You know, I think I agree with your analysis there, TDS. But if it, when you're 80 carry players, they get carried, right? They get spoon fed everything to
Wow.
the end of the game.
Is it needed to
So
attack 80
really,
carries like that?
really MVP was Sigify. So, that's
I knew
supports
it.
stay winning.
Yep. I
This
knew
is-
it was going to fall into that.
Support bias wins again, everyone. Let's go, support
It doesn't
players.
feel fair in this desk because there's 2 support players on my side and I'm the only non-support player. So the bias will always kind of go their way.
Yeah,
Kind of
the
unfair,
I'm not even technically a support right now, but you know what? Support's still in
but
my
still,
heart. I still
you see,
believe in you. I know you're
and
important.
there's
there,
no
there are
democracy.
actually no supports on the desk, with just the support bias is natural. I get
Yeah.
it. But anyways, yeah. So I think overall, we can't necessarily. Again, no MVP vote, but keep the MVP of the series in your heart in chat.
Think of
And
them for next week.
yeah, think of them for next week because they will be showing up. Who knows if they'll be on stream? Perhaps they will, perhaps they won't.
Maybe.
But we will have to see about that. Anyways, with that out of the way, I want to say thank you to everybody who came in to tune into not just this week of the VTS, but every week that we've been on here for the regular season. It's been a very quick few weeks, and now we're getting in the playoffs, and this is where things start turning up and start getting exciting. So, it's been great being here on the broadcast, both with you two, Moose and TDS, and of course with the lovely members of the
Cow.
chat, including I don't know what to call it. Are you my fan club? All the people who call me white chocolate, can I call you my fan club? Or I don't know what you guys are doing there, but
Your Sim
thank you,
Club.
thank
I
you.
would say Sim Club.
But yeah, no, thank you all for staying around and supporting the stream when you are here. Really helps not just our broadcast, but Victoris as a whole. And if you enjoy the stream, make sure you hit the follow button. Subscribe if you would like to support not just the broadcast, but also, I guess the broadcast. Yeah, we get paid, executives get paid, and the stream itself
Everyone is
gets
happy with
better
that.
with your support. So we do appreciate that. If you can also follow us on Twitter to get updates about when we are streaming certain matches. Every day of the week, we have amateur esports gaming going on, whether it's LoL or Valorant. We have it every day of the week. So make sure you follow Twitter, follow the Twitch stream to get updates on when these streams are happening and which teams are around so you can support the people you want to support.
Yeah.
I gotta shill for draft night Mondays, because I'm playing in one of the draft teams. Draft
Oh
night's
yeah.
always fun. Monday and Tuesday both draft nights are a blast. So those are cool nights, but of course every day of the week has great League of Legends gameplay for different reasons. Tonight I felt like, there was exciting games for good reasons as opposed to bad reasons, which is typically why draft night's exciting. But, you know, if you like what you see here, and if you want to get in on the action yourself, join the Discord. You can type !Discord in chat to get a link to the Discord. You can join the community, get in on the conversation, and potentially join a team yourself, either joining up, queuing up for the draft league, or picking up a spot on any number of teams who are looking for players. There are always teams
Which is
looking
almost
for
always.
yeah, there are teams looking for new talent all the time. So if you want to get in on the action, there are plenty of opportunities available. Just go ahead and join that Discord and be a member of the community. It's a good time. And yeah, that aside,
Oh,
TDS, I know Moose wanted you to talk about Amateur Worlds. So go ahead and plug that because that is coming up. More Amateur Worlds action.
yeah, we're on the last legs of Amateur Worlds. I'm not
Ooh.
sure if Gold is already on its final. I think it is, Moose. Yeah, Gold finals. It's tomorrow, so they are almost closing out with two teams that I think have been doing their best. Obviously, I'm not super into it because I'm following my own one on
Oh
Platinum
yeah.
on Sunday. But two teams that have been giving it their all, being champions themselves, coming into the final tomorrow. If you can come in and watch Moose on the grand finals, I'm pretty sure it's going to be great. And then on Sunday, I'll be for the semifinals. I'm still having one more week apart from this one, so if you can come in for the semifinals and then the grand finals, will be great. The teams have been doing best, and honestly, with what happened last week, I think that we will get some really, really, really good games on plat side and on gold side as well.
Yeah, I think that the amateur world stuff is really exciting. Unfortunately, I haven't really had time to catch that many of the games, so I feel like I'm missing out
There's been some really
on
good
the
ones.
action. But it's definitely something. If you enjoy the amateur scene or want to support the amateur scene, make sure you check out the Amateur Worlds games this weekend. And I believe that is everything. I don't have anything to promote. Tomorrow I'm doing landscaping work. The
Okay.
lawn needs help. Nobody's been able to work on it because it's been disgustingly hot all week. Uh, so yeah, that is a
Understandable.
tomorrow problem. That's what I'll be doing instead of having fun. Yo, shout outs to Cow. Cow's here. Thank
If
you
you're
again.
interested in Age of Empires 4 gameplay esports, low elo legends is happening tomorrow at 5 EST, I believe. Make sure to check out. I know a lot of people has been playing Age of Empires 2 as a kid. I have been myself, and low elo legends is happening with it.
I played Age of Mythology.
Age of Mythology, yeah, exactly, right. And Age 4, I'm going to be playing there. Even though I'm like kind of high up there. Anyways, make sure to check that out. And yeah, that is my plug.
All right, thank
Perfect.
you, and
Everyone
thank
has
you for
something.
covering for TDS earlier. We appreciate it. Thank you a lot. So yeah, that's all the plugs. That's everything. So to close out, thank you once again for watching. I have been your host, Becky Rita, with Moose and TDS on the desk. We will be back next week at 7 p.m., I believe, is the time for the playoff matches. Let
I think
me.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's typically when they are. If it wasn't that, I would be sad. But you know, I've been wrong frequently. But yeah, I believe it is 7 p.m. is when the playoff matches will start. So you'll want to be here an hour early so you can make sure you catch all of the games. But yeah, that aside, thank you all for watching and have a fantastic weekend.
Yo, everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them leaks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club.
Okay, yeah, Jin's gonna ball, gonna
It's
flash
actually
forward,
not
but he's
that
gonna
good.
miss the dredge line, and now
Time to make some new business partners.
a massive hostile takeover. Slaughter looks to be started as Timeless
Six decades, never to return, never to feel whole. Isn't it so easy to lose yourself in time, to draw a finish line, to give yourself to one beyond what's good and bad? It kills me not to know. Lost beyond the edge, planning what to say. It kills me not to know, but yet I carry on, letting go of safety, holding on to fear. Will you be there when beyond what's got and have changed, but so can you. So can you. For too long about the mistakes, while I resent, I learned to hate. Forgot your names. Fear the struggle to follow on. Need to focus to prove you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. I know I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it.
Atoms fall apart. Solar flares erupt.